Okay, welcome everyone to tuning into another CPL cast. I don't do a lot on my channel, but doing them on the official Coach Pupil League match of the week. It's tomorrow. Be there. It's about this time tomorrow. Gonna be awesome. It's gonna be tier 0 play, very high level stuff. But we're not here for high level stuff today. We're here for nonsense. We're here for the low level players duking it out, having these really scrappy fights. I'm so excited to watch it. With me right now is Kazuiii. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm fine.
Fantastic.
Happy birthday, by the way. Forgot to tell you that.
Yes, it was my birthday yesterday. That's why we are doing this one in Carba, and no one could tell me otherwise. Even though I did ask, and they said it was cool. But that's okay. We're gonna have a great time. So we're going. It's tier 3. We got a bunch of matches tonight with 5 series in general, and you're a Zerg player, so all the ones you're gonna be helping me out with, they have Zergs in them. I figured,
Excellent.
make it nice and easy.
I'm a Zerg fanatic, so it's more than that.
So what made you choose Zerg, man?
Just the type of gameplay you have is just so unique for any RTS.
You just like bugs. I got it.
Yeah.
In the top middle, we have the Zerg player, Camo Daz. So I'm going by Camo for that. And then in the bottom left, we have our Protoss player, another 2, which like they go by user names with a bunch of numbers, so it's always hard to remember which one it is. Kazuiii, your audio is really low. I'll see if I can boost. I'll boost the Discord on my end. So give me 1 minute for that. All right.
I'm just gonna say something just in case, so somebody can judge it. Like we're both from the same team, Operation Indecision. I know another 2 have been playing a little bit with him, or them. And I think they're pretty good Protoss player for tier 3 especially.
Yeah, he's been around the scene for isn't his first season, so I wouldn't be surprised by that at all. Now, you said you played with him before. Is this your first season of CPL?
Yes, it's my first season. It's actually like I've been playing for a couple of months total, so great stuff. Big fan.
That's fantastic. What got you into playing some classic Brood War?
I've been playing it, as a kid, of course, like many of us, and then I've been playing fun maps. When ASL started, I just started watching and realized how much fun it is to watch these pro players. And when I watched them, I felt like I want to go into this game, do this myself. I was always really afraid because, the learning curve is so high, but then just one day I just sat down, practiced some build orders and practiced like hotkeys, and that was it, I was hooked.
And you're already sitting in tier 2 for us, so just showing like hard work and practice, it pays off. Or you can just play Protoss and cheese people, whatever.
Yeah, just build some zealots, it's fine.
It's not our fault that you can't defend against zealots. Don't project that on me.
No. I can, but I choose not to.
Yeah, that's what it is. Alright, so we saw, while we were doing a little bit of talk, we had a overpool opening from our Zerg player. They are not building a whole bunch of Zerglings. The hatchery is down, so they're moving into not just all-inning immediately, but, Hydralisk, we'll wait a couple minutes, see what happens. And our Protoss player, just doing Forge Fast Expand. Didn't get an early cannon, being a little greedy, which, considering they didn't make Lings, that is the right call.
Yeah, the probe is in the base and scouting as well.
Yeah,
so he knows.
Yeah, one of those little things that players tend to not look at. They have the probe is like scouting around, seeing what's going on. They don't actually look to see those after the spawning pool, like what gets made with those first couple larvae. They just assume it's going to be a bunch of Zerglings, but usually it's not. I mean, you got to kind of figure out like how many cannons do I actually need.
It's probably one of the first hurdles, that you need to figure out. I'm a Zerg player, but still, I guess Protoss die a lot to Zerglings in the early game, especially as they learn the game.
Oh yeah, like more than looking for the early Zerglings and how many cannons, just learning how to wall in general is a nightmare. It's especially if you come from a StarCraft 2, where it's just a grid and it's if they're touching, it's 100% clean. This game has so many little archaic, weird rules that it can easily be overwhelming to try to actually remember it when it doesn't always make the most sense.
Man, I can't tell. I'm telling you, it's still a mystery to me most of the time.
Yeah, no, it's a mystery to me too, man. It's never gonna happen. I'll try, but I'm never gonna actually learn it. So we are seeing this pro's been around for quite a while, and he's getting a good amount of vision of what's going on. Hasn't seen a lair started yet, so.
And there's a suspicious drone next to the main hatch.
Well, we did. The hydrogen's actually been started in the natural, which it was
I
totally
didn't see that.
scouted. So, like we were talking, like we're gonna play some fun, honorable games. We're gonna play some proper StarCraft, and I guess that means 3-hatch Hydra, because of course it does.
Yeah.
Are you a dirty 3-hatch Hydra player?
No, I barely ever do it. I figured I want to start like play the mid game, learn the mid game first. I mean, it's it's a proper opening these days. It's not just a cheese, but I still figured if I play 3-hatch Spire into 5-hatch Hydra, you learn the game better. It's just my approach. But of course, 3-hatch Hydra is a little bit easier, I think.
Yeah, I mean it's like aggressive openings get a bad rap, but it's still like you won't learn like the late game or a lot of the macro stuff, but like really well learning a good early game build and executing it well is a skill in its own right. So it's not like it's just free wins for everybody. Now, unfortunately, Protoss not really getting too big of an idea what's going on. We gotta see if they're get maybe another scout to see when Hydras start getting made, or if he's gonna have some idea because he's gonna need more cannons than what he's got.
Yeah. Luckily, he's poking out with Socialized right now, so he's gonna see what's happening. No Hydra production. Okay, Hydra production started
Yeah, this is
just a few seconds ago.
This is a very weird push out with these zealots because the Pro's going Citadel first. So usually, like you wanna, like we can poke out a little bit and get an idea, but you're waiting for your upgrades to hit the zealot legs in that first +1. Now he just sees the one Hydra just kind of hanging out, and doesn't see a whole lot of drones anywhere. So I think he has an idea what's going on, and we're gonna see if the reaction is to build a couple cannons.
Yeah, he actually has the Stargate, just hasn't built anything out of it. So doesn't look too good for those zealots. Cannon production starting though.
Yeah, I'm actually very surprised to see that it wasn't any kind of like not even a single Corsair to scout. Like honestly, like I didn't even see one, so I missed that the Stargate was like tucked away in the corner. So that's very, very surprising because that's like moving out with the Zealots and losing them. That's really gonna make this defense harder if he doesn't like these cannons aren't enough to do the job.
I mean, he's getting the magic 4 cannons, so let's see. He's gonna need more though, I think.
Yeah, I mean it's still always like these little things where it's like you're not gonna get that +1 weapons, and we actually see Zerg just kind of going in, taking a lot of free shots as he walks around the gateway. But going in, there's not a lot of Zealots here to help defend, but it's a lot of free damage from these cannons. Losses he didn't need to take right there.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, the upgrade should be done, yeah. I was wondering if he had range by the moment he attacked.
Yeah, we're seeing Zerg research burrow. Very interesting choice here. I'm not really sure what that's for right here. You're putting the pressure on with all these Hydras. And it's not like it's not like the burrow's gonna do a whole lot. I mean, they're gonna be untargetable and just maybe force the Protoss to stay home because they won't have observers to clear them out. But I'm not sure. We'll have to see.
He's focusing the Forge now, which is the right call.
Yeah, it's gonna be very close if he's actually gonna get it before the upgrade finishes. Doesn't commit. Oh, don't do it! Don't do it!
Oh no! Oh, I don't think he got it.
It
right.
did not finish. Oh, like a seconds away. Oh.
That would have been infinitely harder to do with the +1 Protoss.
Well, you'd say that, but he's still not making a whole lot of units right now. It's just you see like a little bit of these zealots here and there, but it's really the yeah, Storm's on the way. That's going to be very helpful if you can survive long enough for that. Now we're seeing transition getting a lair, so it's not just going to be keep battering him down with these Hydras. It's going to be trying to move into something else. But you look around, there's not a whole lot of drones here. This attack felt like it was meant to do a lot more damage than it actually did.
Still think it's the right call though, because I don't see him busting this anytime soon. So you just try to cut your losses and to tech up.
I think he had.
Storm almost done.
I think he definitely. Well, when he poked forward, I think he did see that High Templar, so he should have an idea that splash damage should be on the way. But he saw we saw him walk around the gateways and take a bunch of free shots, and then we saw him engaging the Forge, but not being as far back as they could. Like I feel like there was, if it was a little more patient to attack or just a little better executing it, it actually probably could have gone through a lot better.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, honestly, it's one of the hardest things to figure out for both sides. So don't blame him for being scared there, especially if you have those 4 cannons already up.
Yeah.
I think it was 3 at the time, so...
Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with, you know, like, I'm never going to complain about someone that goes, you know what, I don't know if this guy's going to do it, and trying to move into a later game. Like, that'd be crazy to be like, no, I want you to just end it now, go. That's weird.
He's stabilizing, he has 30 drones, you know, he has the Spire, no, not the Spire, but the Lair. He's getting 2 Evos.
Yeah, I feel like this Hydralisk range feels a little late, just about to finish right now.
Yeah, no, that's definitely. I actually thought he might have gotten it already in between because I didn't see the Hydra.
No, he was very fast about getting the speed first, but yeah, the range definitely is feeling wait. Alright, so someone's super quiet, so we're gonna have to, after this game, we're gonna try to boost you up and make sure you're balanced out. So, there's a lot of Zealots moving out right now, though. Like, this is, there's more Zealots than Hydras, though, and you can still see that Camo did start building up that drone count a little bit, but that means he hasn't been working on the units as well. And Lurker aspect pretty far away from finishing here.
He's getting some Sunkens. He should get some, I mean, it's hard to know that, but he should get some links actually. They're not that bad if he doesn't have +1. But I guess he's all set on the Hydras and Sunkens.
I mean, they should be able to do enough. Unfortunately, we don't see... Usually you see Zerg players build their buildings in a way that make it harder to get to these Sunkens. They're right at the front, like how maybe you'd place them against Terran, but that's not really what you wanted to be doing against Protoss. Maybe to have the Evos or a hatchery at the front, make it hard to get to them so the Zealots take more damage.
Yeah, some cities definitely key in a situation like that.
Well, that storm hitting everything. And I'm sure the people watching are confused to see how much it actually hit because it's Carbot. They're not used to seeing that storm.
That was a game-ending storm right there.
That did massive, massive damage to this Hydral's defense. You can see, like, through the Sunkens, no more units here. It's so many Zealots. It does, and the +1 finally did finish after restarting it late. So, the other two taking that game pretty cleanly.
Well played.
Absolutely. All right. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to figure out how to boost you up just a little bit. All right. So, I'm gonna go to Discord. I got your user volume turned pretty far up.
Okay, hope it's better now. I probably can do some tinkering myself, but
well,
not touch it.
No, that's all good. And then I'm going to turn down the Broodwar game sound and turn on my desktop audio a bit. And we're going to see if that helps balance things out. If people could chime in, is the audio balance a little bit better between our two voices?
Hello, hello.
I'm gonna assume that's better until I'm told otherwise. So we're gonna keep this one moving along.
All right, let's hope.
No, it's
about the same.
About the same. Okay. So maybe. How about that compressor? Do I wanna? It's better a bit. Probably not a lot. Right, I'm gonna try removing that, and we'll see how that one helps. If you wanna. Try talking again.
Hello. I hope you can hear me now.
Yeah. So we'll see if that helps it out a little bit. I had the audio good, and then I got a new computer, and then I'm gonna have to go through this nightmare again. Way better. All right. So the compressor.
Excellent.
Turn off the compressor on the desktop audio. Let's hopefully that's gonna do the job well. All right. So we're going into our game 2 between our two players here. We didn't even talk about the map pool this week, which I don't fully know it. Like, I guess we're going to see as the games go. Like, I didn't...
Neo Sylphid first?
Yeah, so I think it was Neo Sylphid, then Bloody Ridge, but I don't remember what 3 was. Maybe
Eddie, I think. I played that week.
In the way of an Eddie? Alright, fantastic.
Yep. Yep, it was Eddie, for sure.
Alright, sweet deal. Did you win that week?
No, I lost.
Oh, no.
You casted it. It was the one against Pupil.
Oh, yeah, he's a monster, though. That's understandable. Alright, so we're going into our game 2 on Bloody Ridge. We have Camo in the purple Zerg in the top right. We got another 2 and that teal Protoss in the bottom left. How do you feel about this map for playing against Protoss when you don't have a bunch of bases to take and you can't really turtle up super hard?
I'm a huge hater of this map against Protoss. It's super hard to play as Zerg. Personally, like it's hard to get a fourth, and usually if you get in the mid game, you need the fourth. It's hard to hold it, and it's hard to position your armies around those two. I don't know what you call them. Ledges in the middle of the map. The left and the right one.
Yeah, I mean,
So
there's definitely spots where you can like dig in a little bit with lurkers and things. I just thinking about the base layout and how like there's so much room in the main for like drops and things to do damage later. It's not a lot of bases you can take, and you kind of going towards that Protoss attack path. It sounds like a not fun time for Zerg.
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's like Protoss favorite, like in general, but I would say for somebody who's like trying to learn this matchup, it's extra hard. At least for me, it was.
I think that's very understandable.
Like you just misplace your army once, he will run down your natural because it's such an open path when you're just dead.
Yeah, I can see that.
Those were my experiences.
Well, we're seeing Camo going again for that overpool opening, and our Protoss player going for another kind of wall up. I'm assuming it's going to be another forge. I feel like people doing gateway at this level would be very difficult. I tried learning it way back in the day. I was like, no, I want to do gateways. I'm going to be like one of those guys. It's like my micro is definitely not good enough to do it, and I dropped my macro trying to do things. So it's like forge. I think anyone tier 3, you should be on forge expand. I'm glad to see that again from another two.
Yeah, I agree. It's just too APM intensive. It's not worth it even if you get a drone or something. It's not worth it if you slack on your own macro.
Yeah, we're actually seeing Camo move out with 2 drones just to make sure he doesn't get blocked off here with this pro, but still doing a pretty good job stopping this expansion for a little bit. But
it's late already.
We do see the spawning pool finished, and that Perp's not in the base to get an idea about these links just yet, but he's really delaying this. At some point, you just got to give it up and take your third base as your second instead, because you're just delaying too much production by delaying this hatchery.
At least he started producing something out of those lava.
And now the Protoss is going to see in the main base. If he pays attention, sees the 6 links, he's going to have an idea what's going on, because he went Nexus before cans again, and one can's not going to be enough this time.
Okay, he sees them now. Let's hope he reacts.
Yeah, we'll see. Camo not moving out right away, giving him that opportunity to do it, and there is that second cannon. So another 2 seeing his information he wanted and actually getting something done with it. And actually still alive in there. The Link's trying to move out a little bit, but they pull back. The Overlord, seeing how many cannons are there, and knows it's not going to be enough to get the job done.
But he got the probe at least, so you should at least get that. If you get 6 links, you should at least try to deny scouting.
He got it with just 1. The others are just spares. He didn't need them.
Yeah, true. But he would have gotten it anyway, I assume.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there comes the next one. Dies immediately.
Yeah, this is always a little bit scary. But the pro was in the base, saw that the extractor wasn't even finished, doesn't have to worry about speed for a little while. And he has that gateway to help block this off. So the 6 link's not going to be able to threaten this too well, I think.
Yeah, 2 cannons definitely don't feel too unsafe, at least at the moment.
I mean, anytime you can get that Nexus before it cans, you feel real good. You don't mind building the extra just to make sure things are okay. And we saw in game 1, the opponent liked doing that little Hydra bust anyway. It's not, if you think like, oh, he's probably going to do that again, then these cans aren't even like wasted.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of, we are seeing a lair this time. Not going to be going for something crazy like that. I'm curious to see if it's actually going to be like Mutalisk, because I feel like I don't see that as much as I should. But, I mean, the Zerg player saw Protoss didn't build a single Corsair, maybe analyzing and going to react.
Yeah, he's sending the Overlord into the main, so he will see if a Stargate is coming up.
Yeah. I mean, that's one nice thing about this map, right? Is that with these kind of spawns, it's kind of hard to not have a Overlord in your main seeing what's going on.
For sure. His Overlord movement is good in general. Like, he has one Overlord parked in front of the net, one in the main. It's good, It's hard to get surprised like that. Like, Zealot move outs in the early game can be really punishing if you are not prepared as a Zerg.
Absolutely. Now, we are seeing he is going back and is going to see that Stargate. I think he just barely missed it on the way in because he's going more towards the center. This is definitely interesting to put all the stuff on the side. Usually you see people just throw it in the middle, no real thought, but keeping his base nice and organized, and it bought him a little bit of time, but not enough to really matter. And that Citadel going down as well. So I think from we're seeing the same build from the Protoss player. I mean, it worked in game 1. Don't if it's not broke.
Yeah, we see the Zealots moving out, killing all the Zerglings, so I would feel like a little bit anxious here as a Zerg. Now he's getting a sunken up as well, so...
I would agree with you if he actually kept moving out, but that Overlord saw them come back. They're not moving across the map, so he knows it's slow Zealots. You got so much time. He is actually building the Sunkens and creep colonies like ahead of time, so either maybe not paying attention or just really respecting it. But I feel like this is a little overly cautious. You can't really be affording to do this yet.
Definitely, that's a little bit too premature, but I mean, at least he got them. And this time the SimCity is a little bit better than in the first game.
Yeah, it looks like he is going to try to build some stuff to be in front of it. Usually, like, Evo chambers are so good for that because they're so cheap and have just bulk. It's like thick Evo chambers, just walls.
Yeah.
Now,
even getting a Spire though, you know, even though
I'm not seeing anything from the lair tech. He got lair and like no use on it at all. Not upgrades, not lurkers, like nothing. So I'm a little surprised.
Now he's getting a creep colony in the main, which is a little bit confusing. I wonder what's that for.
Yeah, we are finally seeing that Hydra Den go down and an Evo chamber, which is much better CMC this game, where he's getting the Evo chamber that really blocks him off with the Hydra Den.
Getting even more Sunkens, he's really respecting the +1 move out.
This Corsair getting a little bit of scouting information, but I actually don't think another 2 has no idea about the 3rd. He should assume it's there, but if you flew over that, saw the defenses, and saw that there's only 1 drone mining, you probably feel pretty comfortable. Like, I actually say this is one thing I'm looking at for the Zerg player that I'm a little leery about, is that there's no big plan. He got to lair tech, but not really using the tech. He's starting to build Hydras, but he had all this time beforehand. He either could have done the stack way faster, or it could have been getting more drones to have a better economy, but he's kind of light on drones. He's not having a lot of tech. Like, Lurker still isn't started. We're already like halfway to Storm for the Protoss player. It seems like it's going to be a rough go of it for Camo moving forward.
Yeah, definitely. He's also mining a lot of gas, even though he's not using it.
Yeah, that's a lot of gas. Which, I mean, Zerg likes gas, but yeah, you do have to use it a little bit. Mutas would have been so nice this game. Like, this would have been a perfect situation to go Mutas and put some pressure on. Like,
yeah, you can see that he's like skimping on the Corsairs. He's only one, getting another one now.
Yeah, he was skipping on Corsairs. There's no cannons in the mineral lines or anything. Like, this is prime opportunity of that. If it was even just like a small group of mutas, it would have been enough to really do some damage. And we got that Corsair pushing the Overlord out of the main now, finally. So, but Camo's still very tight for money. I don't think even this, he doesn't want to remake this. And there's another one outside the front that's probably going to go down shortly too. The Overlord's in good spots to spot army movement, but there are going to be free kills if they're found.
Yeah, and also, like, +1 has been done, and he has a lot of Zealots, but another 2 chose to stay in the base. I don't know if he's going to wait for the +2. He's got Storm, I think, or he's getting it, at least.
He did complete Storm, and I would assume that he is waiting for stuff like Storm to be ready. But he got the scout with the Corsair all over the place. He sees no tech. He doesn't see like crazy good drone saturation. The number went up recently, but before that it was low. He might just feel comfortable being like, I don't have to attack here. Like, I'm just gonna keep building up because you can already see the supplies double basically for the Protoss player.
Yeah, and why risk it against that many Sunkens? You know, might just go wrong. Just chill out, get some more. He's got a second forge. He's getting double upgrades.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I see it in there, but I didn't see where the forge was. But yeah, especially if you get that armor going a little bit, that's gonna make fighting these Hydras so much more easier. Actually, you see this little move out with the links. They're still slow links, no speed yet. So, and Zealot's moving out just the right time as well, almost outnumbering the links too. This is not the fight you want.
Yeah, I assume this is gonna be like.
Oh, the Templar though, walking out.
No. But slow links, not fast enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're gonna be able to push this back without too much issue, but it's nice to just see him. He's trying to poke out a little bit. I would love to see these Corsairs come back. because they're just hanging out over in that bottom right, not really getting anything done. They can push away this Overlord, and you can see like the Overlords aren't really positioned super well for actually fighting. So like, this is the kind of a situation where maybe it just makes in like one DT. It could work. It could do so much work.
Yeah, but he has like a spore in every base, so and Sunkens. I mean, you could definitely kill like all those links out there for sure, without him even realizing it.
Yeah, I think that would be a good way to go though, because if you can just keep these Overlords out of the fight, because you can see like this giant group of Hydra. If you get a fight in the open field and there's no Overlords to support them, DT's like value, they go way up. They do so much damage. They don't have to be just killing workers. We're just seeing both players kind of building up, not really trying to poke around at each other, but Camo, again, not being super greedy. Drone count's still not super good. Not making a move at all to like start securing the fourth to get set up for later. So I think whenever another two is in the mood to get Frisky and start a fight, it's going to go quite well for him. But although there's that little group of links to the left that's actually in a position for a pretty decent backstab. If everything moves out, there's only the now one cannon because the goons had to kill it to get out. It could go well. And you actually see the Perp trying to expand, didn't clear the base out first.
Let's see if he realizes it and he's gonna deny this expansion. But he sees them, he's moving the Zealots in, so doesn't look too good for this denial.
Doesn't seem that way. And losing these units for free right now when you're in this kind of spot from Zerg, like this never feels good. He's got a lot of group of Hydras and starting to make a good amount of lurkers, going up to seems like a full control group. Okay, like we're doing it.
This is definitely not a force that you know, should be taken lightly, especially with that many lurkers. If he fights well, he could hold off this army.
Yeah, I think so. But we do see there's a couple observers already at the natural, so it's not like we're gonna be caught out from detection. And there's plenty of storm already getting starting to get that Dragoon number up to help fight against static defense and lurkers. And the range upgrade has been finished for a while now. These Dragoons as well. With both armies trying to move out into the middle map, taking different paths though. So
yeah, he's got his double upgrades done. He has 2-1, while the Zerg is 0-1 yet. So this will definitely be tough for the Zerg to hold off. But he's not in a bad position right now. So.
Oh man, this is rough though. Like you don't want to get that fight right outside the high ground, but another two backing off and doesn't even want to try to challenge it. But this is definitely a fight that if another two takes it, he can definitely do a lot of damage, especially with all these storms. He's just going to try to blanket some damage and buy some time. Hitting pretty effectively, dropping a lot of these Hydras down on health. Oh, there's so many lurkers out. They're going forward. They're going so forward.
Oh, but they are not split at all. One storm and they will all die.
Oh,
and there comes a brutal storm on all these lurkers.
This is like that dream storm where it's like, oh, I killed all the lurkers. Oh, I'm almost there. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, this is something that you pick up, like as it happens to you, that you need to split up your lurkers a little bit more to not tank all the storms at once, like tank one storm with all the lurkers.
Yeah, I mean, even if nothing else, it's just like the kind of thing where it's like you see a little pocket Templar, that should be the priority before they get the storms off. Or like if you move the lurkers a little more to the left, you probably could have killed the Templar before they cast, because another two was a little slow on doing it, even though it did hit so much stuff when it happened.
But you can see, like, the issues I already talked about this map. It's hard to navigate your army around and.
Yeah, for straight head-on fight, I completely agree with you. But like, I think this could have been so much better of a situation if it was Camo expanding to this bottom right, getting that fourth base up, maybe this like 12 o'clock, and then forcing the Protoss to come in at them, because it's kind of the same issue that we were talking about. If Protoss is the one moving and they're not secured on like a high ground, like one of those little spokes in the middle, it's just going to be very difficult to deal with this. We got Jarcino in the chat pointing out it is a lot of Dragoons, and it is. There's not a lot of ground support behind it, but I think there's so many storms, and we don't see Camo switching into like a lot of links or anything. When it's just a bunch of Hydras, the storms are already ready and waiting. Like, it's not, the Dragoons count while high is not going to matter. It's going to be very effective.
Yeah, and another Zealot round just came in, so he bolstered up those front lines just now.
Oh man, some of these storms hit so well. Camo pulling back reasonably fast, but the damage is done so quickly with Storm. What a spell. We're seeing
No lurkers left as well.
Yeah, he didn't replenish them after he lost the initial bit. And Camo tapping out. Wasn't going to be able to hold that attack, so I don't mind it. I think being more aggressive early and like committing to that kind of attack, or being really more economically focused and getting that 4th base up, making the Protoss make a move. But him just sitting on 3 base, like 3 base versus 2 for Protoss when you're like getting good tech, I think every Protoss is fine with that, honestly.
Yeah, but also like once he gets this 3rd, you know, the Protoss gets this 3rd, it's kind of tough, you know. Like as I understand the feeling as a Zerg, you kind of want to punish that. You kind of want to hold, like stop the Protoss from getting your his 3rd too easily. And this is like one of the traps of this map because it's so easy to get and hold the 3rd, you know, like because you can defend the natural and the 3rd at the same time.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. All right, so we're moving into our second series. And it's another ZVP, because that matchup's great. Everyone loves playing that matchup. Well, maybe not Zerg players. And
no, I love it.
You know,
the only reason I love it is because it's ZVT is the alternative. You know, that's even worse.
Just he's Zerg. You're just complaining, Zerg players. Tisk tisk.
But I think, like personally speaking, ZVP is more like a matchup that. Makes understanding Brood War a little bit easier, like army move and all that stuff, because ZVT is like just, you know, hard, like edges in a matchup. You know, you just die if you don't have enough. You just die if you don't have defilers. Just die if you don't have enough sanctons up. Just die if you don't harass with neuters.
Yeah. Alright, so in the bottom right, we have his name on CPL is Gecko. I'm calling him Gecko. I'm not playing that game. So it's Gecko as the Protoss player, and we got Bugs Bunny, much more family-friendly name, in the top middle with the olive Zerg. That color's not that great. It looks weird.
No. But it looks Zerg, you know, like how Zergs would look like if they had a color.
Yeah, I suppose so. I always like red. The red really pops out, makes Zerg look super good. So that's always the color I would play.
Yeah, we saw the players complaining about the ping, I think, so this is probably like a low turn rate game. You know, I know that Bugs is from Australia.
Yeah, I see Bugs, like he wants to try to get into casting, he's like so excited to play this game, but holy crap, his internet is not...
Yeah, it's tough,
It's a little memeable, which is, I think that's fine, that's funny. We're getting an overpool from Bugs, and we're getting some kind of expand from Gecko. Okay. I really appreciate that the tier 3 players we're seeing, they're doing like normal real openings, not like they're not still in that phase of no, I can innovate the game, I'm a genius, no one's ever thought of it, 2 gates, like no.
Yeah, I think this is just the CPL effect, you know, you just get taught, you know, openings that are reasonably normal.
Yeah, I got my first season got yelled at by my coach for playing bad builds, and then I don't play bad builds anymore. I think a lot of the coaches are nicer this season though. How's your experience with that been so far?
Great, you know, coaches have been absolutely magnificent, you know, like every time I lose a game, I just post a replay, somebody takes a look at it, gives me some feedback. We get some courses from the like really top players, you know, like we had some courses with Crossy. I'm a big fan of our coaches.
Fantastic. All the teams have very fantastic coaches. Having the less teams this season really bolstered the coaching staff. It seems like a lot of people are doing better. Seeing a lot of people they're definitely improved, or they've been promoted like up a tier. So we're seeing a lot of good engagement. We see the Protoss player got this probe just hanging out in the main, sees the 4 links and has that 1 can, so he's ready to defend against it. But you just see Bugs trying to really get this probe out of there. One of the things you want to do to try to help you do this a little better, don't have all 4 links chase the probe, have 1 chase it and try to actually manually do it with the other 3, like trap it in a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes it's not even bad to just take one of the drones that are like maybe on the way to the natural. Just hit it once. Stuff like that. But it's tough, like a good probe micro is tough to beat.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we see Bugs floating up a lot of money. Don't know if he was trying to deny this probe before anything was going down. We do have that next hatchery like on the way. I'm not in love with where he took it though.
Me too.
This isn't actually high ground, and it's basically in the Protoss attack path. So if they get like parked outside their natural, then they're split between your two bases. They get you're gonna force you to have a lot of static defense to actually keep it.
I agree. It's just a bad base. You don't even have 7 mineral patches in there. It's just.
Yeah, well,
And the guys are also only 1.5k gas, so. It's not worth it.
150. Not. Oh. Oh, they mean
Yeah,
that like depleted geyser. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's just. I'm a big fan of the side expansions. Take the mineral only or one of the high ground ones. This one is really tough to defend, in my opinion.
Well, I don't think Bugs is thinking about anything like that. We see no lair. We see a Hydra den. I think he just wants those Hydras in that base a little bit faster.
True.
And we're seeing from Gecko, getting that Citadel, no Stargate. So this is definitely the kind of build that can defend something like this. But you have to scout, get an idea what's going on. With only a couple links to the front, that's not going to be enough info, but Probe moving across the map, if he sees these Hydras starting to get made, or you can find that Hydra den and get the cannons ready in time, he'll be in a pretty reasonable spot.
Yeah, you can see Gecko was really like, how you say, he was really trying to get the scouting. He had like 3 probes out at one point, so obviously one of them made it out, and now he scouted the Hydralisk den.
Yeah.
And he's already getting a second cannon up.
Yeah, actually, one of the things I don't mind doing in that spot is if you're having trouble getting the probe out, like maybe links are, boxing you out, or it's just difficult to move around. Especially if they don't have the link speed, just send one zealot. Like, it's gonna get there.
Yeah, for sure.
Slow links are not gonna kill that before it gets there. We're starting to see the Hydras get built up a little bit. This game looking already a little bit different from what we saw before. It felt like Bugs had a little more drones early, and now he's done making them, so he's kind of like, it seems a little more focused on, no, I'm gonna cheese you up with this. I'm gonna kill you fast, and I don't want to play this game for much longer.
But he's also getting a lair, so I don't know. Maybe he's just trying to fake it.
I'm not sure. I think I don't mind getting the lair after like getting these Hydra upgrades and putting the pressure on, because you can transition so quickly into those lurkers. And if he actually gets the Overlord further in the main, he sees that there is no Stargate. He can also see there's no Robo, no detection. Really going to be set up well to do whatever he wants to do. But the Gecko Citadel build coming online pretty soon. That Zealot's movement speed is nearing completion. He misordered the upgrades a little bit though, because you wanted to have that weapons upgrade started a long time ago, so it finishes about the same time as the leg speed. So a little optimization he can work on there.
Maybe it's not going to matter at this point if Bugs manages to kill the Forge off.
Well, like if he started the +1 weapons when he should have, it'd already be done.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
You're pretty late into the game. You're right.
Yeah, but so
Yeah, it might be tough for him now.
yeah, these we got the speed zealots moving out there now, but there wasn't quite a lot of them going into the Hydras. They're spread out pretty far, got a lot of damage. He sees the Hydras being built up, but like the cannon layout here is gonna make it hard. Like that one in the back's not gonna defend this at all.
Yeah, I was about to say he has 2 little cannons for an attack like that. He's making a hatchery right in front of the natural. That's crazy.
Yeah, I see that. That's this is the tier 3 I wanted to see tonight. That's the weird stuff.
I like it though. You can produce Hydras out of there. He's all in, all the way in.
Well, if you're gonna be all the way in like that, put it further forward at that expansion.
Yeah, and build Sankens. Why not?
No, we see the Zealots trying to move out again, get some damage done. He doesn't want to lose that gateway. It's so close to dying, though. I think you're not going to be able to defend that much further. Just, come on, Hydras, just kill it, just a little bit. But we have High Templar on the way. Storm in the process of being made, but it's going to be a while off yet. He's going to need to figure out a way to defend this. He's losing these Zealots a little bit piecemeal, and now these cannons, I think there's enough Hydras to break it, but he's not attacking with all of them at once.
Yeah, you can see he's a little bit scared. He's like trying to wait for more Hydras. I think he has enough now.
Oh, for sure. Especially since you can like whittle it through. You start that left side, the ones on the right aren't even going to be hitting you. A little bit sloppy placement there. Sees the high Templar. Storm's not done though, so if he doesn't like get scared of the potential of Storm, like he could just keep pushing through. It's just pros to defend this now.
No cannons anymore, so now it's looking grim for our Protoss.
What do you mean our Protoss, man? We're on the same team. We're rooting for Bugs. He's our boy.
I'm always rooting for the guy who's getting cheesed, you know?
you're
Or like
rooting-
all in.
You guys heard this, right? You got a tier 2 Zerg player feeling bad for Protoss. Like, you hearing this?
The storm is done now, so he just got a decent storm off, but it still doesn't look too good. Hydras keep pouring in. The hatch is done, by the way, so...
Yeah, this is a little silly. But, I mean, if it is going to reinforce stuff a little bit, Gecko tapping out on that one. So, I mean, he tried. That was a very interesting build from Bugs. To add that, like, hatchery forward. The build itself is... Like, come on, guys. Get past 3 Hatch Hydra. Do something more interesting.
I mean, I can understand it. It's the way you win. It's hard to defend.
Yeah, I'm gonna completely agree with you on that one. When you're playing the match for the week, you know what? Honor doesn't get you points.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not ashamed to say I've done it myself. You know, so...
I mean, yeah, I do a lot of, in my PvT particularly, I like being a little cheesy, fun, aggressive. Not zealots, but, you know, maybe logicers, like a lot of them. We're going into that game too. We're going to see if this one goes a little bit differently for our players. Like you were saying before, this map, not particularly the most fun thing to play on. We have Gecko in the purple in the top right, and we have Bugs, this time choosing pink in the bottom left, so very similar-ish colors, but that pink actually looks pretty nice. I
Yeah.
like that. It's like,
I just like new colors in general, you know.
I mean, it's
like-
the drones look like they look like candy because of the carbot skin, so.
Oh yeah, true. You have the carbon skin, I forgot. But still, like, you know, I think they got added relatively recently, like a year ago or something, I don't know. Like
Yep.
new colors in the game, so...
Yeah, I wish they didn't add black.
Yeah, I guess.
I get all the edgelords that are like, oh, I'm so slick, it's going to be hard seeing my stuff. Like, I don't want to play teal versus red every time, just because you want to pick silly colors that are hard to see.
By the way, we're getting a 5 pool here, you know, so... Bugs not messing around.
I mean, I literally just stated my point about, you know what, get the win. I respect your choice to get the one. Now, this is interesting because it's the 2-player map, where it's 100% going to be scouted. Now, we're going to see what the reaction actually is from Gecko. I don't know if you can hardwall that off, like, away from Zerglings, with
No,
if you get, like,
no.
double gateway or anything like that. We'll have to see what it is, because I think if he just goes for forwards like normal, but he's got the probe in the base. Let's see if he knows what to do with it.
I mean, the rush distance is relatively short, right? Like, I don't know how long it is, but it's not that far away compared to some other two-player maps where it's actually pretty far away.
Yeah. Well, we're going for the forge first. It's about to finish up as well. We actually see, it feels like the pro production got halted a little bit, so he has that little extra money just to make sure he can get his cans on. Has to be careful where he's putting them, though, because, like, while you can have cans and they'll be able to win the straight up fight, don't leave an opening that the links can literally just run by the cannons and your main's destroyed. So
Yeah,
I don't like how lefties are. I don't think this is the way you want them to do this.
Yeah, for sure. Not even sure. I think it's going to be done right as they arrive, right?
The one on the left is pulling a bunch of probes to help fight and clog
Good
this up.
call.
So yeah, I agree. That's definitely a good call. Has a good amount still mining back at home as well. Bugs moving in now, and he's gonna have to wait for an overlord to keep going.
Oh no,
Let's
he's
see.
attack commanding.
Yeah, he got a little distracted there. He could have had more lanes get past these probes, but he gets a couple cannon hits. But still, 2 lanes in here. If you micro them, they could do a lot of damage. But probes can actually just straight up try to fight this and be reasonably
Yeah, and
okay.
also, yeah, they just died. And now you can't get any more links past 2 cannons. I think not on one hatch.
Yeah. Now this I so disagree with this. Bugs wanted to go for this early aggressive play. I get it. It made sense. Sure. Don't build more drones. Like, you need, if you're gonna like do this and you're like, all right, it didn't work. I'm like, you saw how many probes he had at his base. You're not catching back up.
Yeah, yeah. You need to go all the way and just build more Zerglings, hide them, and then try to surprise him one more time. You know, what else is there left?
Or just, I mean, just build up a decent force of them, because like you saw the gateway wasn't started at the time, and now just finishing. So there's no zealots on the board. I think you could pull up a little bit of force, and hope maybe your opponent doesn't build that like extra cannons he needs. Just sits on the 2, thinking he's okay. I think I do think Bugs painted himself into a little bit of a corner here, and it's gonna be hard to figure out what he actually wants to do. Oh, you see, like, I see a drone being made right now. He's trying to catch back up on workers. We actually see Gecko, he delayed building probes for a little bit just to get that Nexus going, but you can see, like, the worker count already pretty far ahead, has that Nexus base started, and with that defense at the front, I feel like we're waiting for the game to end. And Bugs adding some extra cheese on top of the cheese. We're going one
Hydra.
one hedge Hydra. We're gonna. Well, it might be 2. Maybe he's gonna try that again. Just throw it out at the opponent's base. Like, oh, I'll give you Hydras.
Oh, yeah, I think he's trying to get a second hatch up right now.
And
I mean, I don't want to be in this position right now. It looks like this is hard.
yeah, we're seeing something a little bit interesting from Gecko in the bottom right corner. Adnan is piling very quickly. I mean, you figure you see the spot you're in. You shouldn't feel the need to take a third base. So I think that's gonna be some kind of proxy tech. I just don't know what he's gonna choose.
Probably. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would get in his position. Probably just 1 DT or something, or 2.
I mean, you're still pretty far away from actually getting to the DT tech, and like you can see, like there's actually no gas for Gecko at all. So is he just gonna like slam more gateways down, maybe? Or is this just like a spotting pylon? This is a little bit unusual, because like the one thing you wouldn't really want to do here is don't give your opponent like little free advantages. Like, you're turtled up, play like a solid, like just build up your 2 base, and you're gonna be sitting fine. Probe moves forward, sees a couple lengths, dies, doesn't actually confirm that hatchery in the natural, but I mean, he only saw a couple lengths. I figure you have some idea what's up.
Yeah, you know, there's this rule where if you're behind, you need to play risky plays to get back into the game. But if you're ahead, you should play like conservatively and try to build up your lead. And this is like more of a risky play, I would say. The gateway thing.
Yeah, because there's no reason that can't be in the main. Like, right? If it's in the main, it's protected. Like, all this is that if an Overlord flies by and sees it, it's just gonna die. Now, it does open up the possibility for maybe like a counterattack if he has the Zealots and then you don't see the move out. But you can see Bugs, he doesn't have his Lings outside the natural to like pseudo contain his opponent or anything. He's literally like, there's no like tricks here. It's just hoping an Overlord never comes down.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably thinking the only thing that can come now is Hydras, you know. So he probably thought this is like some sort of backup plan. Just hit his main with a couple of Zealots while he stands with his Hydras in front of my base, or something.
Yeah, something like that, I guess. I'm really not sure. You do see we're teched up a little bit now, going towards that Citadel. So maybe these gateways just built very far ahead of time for eventual DTs. I don't know.
Yeah, he's a little bit slacking on the pro production. I don't know if it's because he got those extra gates so early. Like, I don't know much about Protoss, but I just see the probe number is not that high.
I mean, you look at the spot you're in, it's
still good, you know.
It's good compared to what your opponent is, but yeah, he definitely did cut his pro production in spots here and there for reasons that you really didn't need to. Like, this could have just been constantly build your probes and then like get a gateway when you can, because he has these gateways at the bottom. They're not even producing anything, so they could have been delayed quite a while until like you started the Templar archives if you wanted them for a DT thing.
He even got a cannon in the mineral line, maybe fearing Mutas.
Yeah,
like in each phase.
Yeah, he's got
2 actually.
Yeah, 2. Oh, he's got 1 on each end, so that's definitely some anti-muta protection. Which, I mean, that's completely fine. I think that works, but I don't know. Like, I just want to see him build more regular units. Like, I'm looking constantly. It's like, all right, he's starting to build some zealots now, but where's that +1 upgrade? He could have started that forever ago.
I think it's really hard to get into the normal rhythm of a game if you get cheesed like that. So like to just get back into a normal build, you forget the thing here or there. You're scared of whatever may come, you know, you just feel like I'm just gonna defend. Like you see he's getting 2 more cannons even though he doesn't know that there are hydras. I don't think he scouted him at all yet.
Yeah, I think, well, he's got the DTs being made. He's moving out with the zealots from the corner, so I think at this point he's going to poke with his little cheeky play and then let that be the damage he wants to get done.
I mean, those DTs, if they get into the third, it's going to be pretty hard.
I mean, honestly, you look at what's here. The Overlord's not far enough out in the natural. He could fight the stuff at the front and get some real damage done. These 2 zealots are going to be out here, and there was 1 laying outside the natural. So if Bugs sees this zealot and is really paying attention, he should have an idea. That's not right. I would have seen that leave the base.
Yeah, he misses it though. Oh no, now he sees it.
And we got some Hydras moving out across the map. There's cannons here, plenty of speed zealots. There is no weapons upgrade, but that's not as critically important versus the Hydras compared to the Zerglings. But we're gonna see what these DTs can do. They're gonna do so much damage. And we're actually
unfortunately he built an Overlord and rallied it away from the third, so he's not gonna see them at all.
Yeah, but there's not a lot of drones here. Actually, a couple of drones getting rallied to the attack at the front. So these DT is not going to get a lot done. Now let's see if they actually hit the hatchery. They do. DT tech has been signaled. Now, if you're Bugs in this spot here, you need
just give it up.
You need an Overlord. You need it by your army, and it has to be in a way that's going to not die. That one over to the ridge on the right, he should be pulling that back, so he's not going to. He can fight against DTs if they come.
I mean, it's good that it's there, so he doesn't have to pull back immediately. Maybe a little bit.
But you can see this 1 DT alone already starting to fight on the Hydras. There's no detection here, and it's just this 1 unit is going to repel them so far away.
Yeah, along with the speed zealots.
Yeah, actually pulls back the Dark Templar, lets the Zealots go up the ramp. Smart move from there. And Bugs tapping out. So, trying to that extra cheese, that artisanal cheese, and it's just, man, didn't quite work out. This is, I mean, you don't see 4 and 5 pools much to begin with, but I feel like that's definitely not the matchup you see him in.
I mean, considering the way the game opened, it still wasn't that bad. Like he still had a shot, I think. I mean, he was very far behind, but still, like Gecko played so conservatively that he could have droned up a little bit more and maybe done something. He had this 3 hatches up. He had his lair, I think.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I think there was opportunities to get some stuff done. But we're gonna see what these players do. They're setting up precedent. Like this game 3 might be some extra kind of wild, and we're gonna finally see it in the way of Venetti too.
Cheese map, I would say.
Well, I'll ask you questions about that shortly, but we're gonna introduce our players again. In the purple Protoss, it's Gecko. In the top right, we got Bugs this time on the green, so I think he just does the random color thing, which that's psychotic. I don't get it. Like, you can't pick a color you love. Like, there's people that pick random. I don't understand.
So what's your favorite color?
I like the purple. Not like this is the magenta. This is the bright purple. I like the darker purple.
Yeah, I like this magenta actually. Like if I pick it, I mean I'm one of those despicable random pickers, you know. But still, I like. For me, it's like bright pink, you know, very bright pink. I like bright pink Zerg.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I just don't get it because it's like the only customization you can have in this game, and the people that don't want it, it's like you get to pick your color. That's it. And there's people who's like, I don't care. It's like, what? Come on, like how?
Yeah, I guess.
Alright, we're gonna see what we're gonna have here. We got the Overlord moved to the top right. Unfortunately, there's cross spawns for both players, so that Overlord's not gonna see a whole lot. The probe moving out might catch it in transit and get the idea, but I think both players gonna just be comfortable. That's a pretty far away spot. Both players liking to be this aggressive play so far. It's gonna buy them an opportunity to get settled into the mid game.
I mean, I wonder what Gecko was thinking at this point, like getting 3 hatch Hydra, then getting 4 pulled. he's got to be thinking, you know, I'm going to be as defensive as possible. And he's going to probably be thinking I need to scout as much as possible.
Yeah, I mean that's a good adaptation you can do in a series. If you get a feeling like you're down game 3 in your first 2 games, your opponent has done aggressive or cheese, however way you want to look at 3-hatch Hydra, and then the 4 pool, like I would be like, you know, maybe I'll get that 1 blind cannon. I'm not gonna like risk it. Maybe I'll build 1 extra gateway. Like the little adaptation of I think he's gonna be trying something silly again. I want to bolster my defense just a little bit more, and we actually already see that here, getting that cannon before the Nexus was time, because he didn't really get to see when was the spawning pool. Even though it is cross spawned, he's still respecting that he doesn't have that full knowledge.
Yeah, you know, you need to consider as well, like we saw in the chat before, they were lagging a lot. So if your opponent, if you're lagging and your opponent plays very aggressive openings, it's kind of extra tilting, at least for me, you know. Like you try to micro around, you try to pull your units back, and then he gets links into your base or something. It's tough.
Yeah, you're absolutely right on that one. I think that also is giving you a good indication why maybe he likes doing like the Citadel first, because like you do have to pay attention. There is a little micro to using a Corsair effectively and not getting it immediately killed by Scourge. So
Yeah, for sure.
maybe just leaning away from them, thinking like I'm just gonna do this really like this strong with speed lot with the +1, that kind of early attack. So we'll see if that's the plan we're gonna be going for here. Now, this is the kind of thing I'm talking about though that we saw in the other game, that the +1 was so delayed. When he finally gets gas, like you want to start that weapons upgrade so early. It's like it should be like one of the first things you get.
Yeah, like I'm not a pros player, but I think the whole point is to hit them, like to surprise them with the extra early attack, because most like Zerg builds are not you know, build around getting hit by +1 zealots that early. You know, if you skip the Stargate, they come like extra early.
Yeah,
Can be really tough.
So one of the things you can see Zergs do is that they actually just get a little more stacked defense and rely on something like Sunkens instead of Links, which does eat into their economy, and like you're still getting upgrades that are useful for the entire game. Now we did see the one thing about the probe. It did move to that bottom left. There was a drone there. It wasn't turning into a hatchery yet. I'm not sure if he actually saw that the drone was there. He poked around, didn't see the hatchery started, and left. So we'll see if he pokes back over.
Yeah, he then went to scout the Hydro Den, which is early again.
Yeah, well, he also sees no lair. So there's a Hydro Den, there's no lair.
I wonder what's this for.
Intriguing. And like,
I mean,
this is the one thing too. Like, I mean, the build already makes me mad. I hate playing against 3-hatch Hydra. It's so annoying. It feels like I can't ever like build the right amount of cannons. We're actually going for that course of the Stargate, so I was gonna get that scouting info whenever he sends that Corsair across the map. But the most tilting thing about 3-hatch Hydra for me is Hydras just look so dumb on Carbot, and it's like the only bad-looking unit, and it's so I just can't.
What I like about Gecko is also that he waited a little bit on like getting the cannons. He didn't go immediately into panic mode. You know, just get 4 cannons up. I mean, I think this has got him a little bit early, but
yeah, I mean, it is a little earlier than you need to be. Now, the one thing that is a little shame that right above that pylon, I think the building placement is like he can't just make a line of cannons to the side because of that little gap in the middle, because the pylon's like one spot up too much. But he should still be able to get a good amount of defense here to reinforce it. Still hasn't started the +1 weapons though, so
yeah, he's getting a robo. I think he's changing plans here. Probably gonna try to get a Reaver.
I mean, if you can get the Reaver have for defense, it's very effective against like some kind of big Hydra push. But I am definitely a little bit worried about that, because it's, especially if they're playing in a laggy environment, it's gonna be very difficult to actually control a Reaver well.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, we can see that Vax is doing some in-between thing again. Like he didn't start building Hydras immediately. He got a 4th hatch in his main. So he's probably going to try to, like he's building Hydras now, so he's probably going to try to hit him with a much larger force than expected.
I I mean, I don't think you actually get the much larger force from that fourth hatchery for a reasonable amount of time, where it could be like something like that. Now, again, we saw the start. Wasn't there a Stargate? I thought I saw a Stargate getting started.
Yeah, yeah. I think he cancelled. We definitely saw a Stargate.
Oh wow, okay, that's interesting. All right, so I was
He's
gonna.
getting a shuttle as well. So
Yeah, he's getting shuttle. He's got the support base, so he's doing the way you want to be getting Reavers, and he's gonna be able to put some pressure on. But you gotta be so careful. Don't lose that shuttle. And actually, it might be worth it just to keep the Reaver in the backline by the cannons, so the Hydra step up. He's in a good spot. You can see he took the shuttle with a single Zealot and moved it over to the bottom middle. I don't know what that's about. Like, it's not really getting anything done, but he is hiding the shuttle tech at least.
yeah, he dropped the Zealot. He's trying to kill the NORAD too.
Oh, that is interesting. Maybe he's just.
I think he's gonna try to.
He's taking a third base on an island where the Hydras can't get to him. Okay.
Yeah, maybe that's like a backup plan or something.
I mean, it's just making use of the abilities you have. There's a probe that got in freaking Bugs' main that's harassing the gas line. And because Hydras are rallied, they're not even killing it. Until the moment I said that. Caster curse.
Yeah.
Hydra's stepping forward a little bit. The Zealots are on hold position, not going to be baited out into taking some fight they don't want. But you can see the gateway starting to be under pressure here. But the shuttle and Reaver are done. But
I mean, this looks really tough for Zerg, you know, like, how many cannons is that? 5, 6, 7 cannons and a Reaver? I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot, but, like, it's not a lot of Zealots, and if he loses them very slowly, like, this Reaver's going to do a lot of damage, but if he is a little sloppy and loses this Reaver... But there's so many cannons. Even without the Reaver, there's no way the Hydra's are going to break through this. They got to go a little bit slower and try...
Yeah, he got a few good shots off as well, you know, like, he has like 7 kills on the Reaver already.
Yeah, now he has 2 of them, shuttle moving across the map. I like that he's thinking, I want to get some stuff done and put the pressure back on. Right as shuttle speed is about to be finishing up. But you're playing Protoss in this spot, right? You see all these Hydras, you come into this bad fight. Don't take your Reavers away from your base. Like, you had the probe that got in his main. You have an idea what's going on. Like, you're just taking your defense and moving it away and hoping your cannons are enough to hold, which I think they will be, but I think it's just unnecessary risk. At least leave one of the Reavers at home without the shuttle, just as like that super cannon in the back.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is also, you can see the natural is not really wide, so you don't have much space for extra cannons if you wanted to, like, add even more. Like, I don't see where he would build even more cannons.
Forced mining to stop at the third base. The Reaver's going into the main, but the Hydra's moving forward at the outside. Reaver's getting some good shots. The drone's not getting pulled from the main, so they're going to do damage. These Hydras got to get something done.
Yeah, he got forced into an all-in right here.
Yeah, now, unfortunately, we see this like a lot of Hydras like just a little further up, not part of this fight. He's not attacking with his full army in a spot where he really needs to. The shuttle's heading back now, trying to get back in time to defend. And with Bugs just not willing to commit to this fight, I think they're going to be able to.
Yeah, he's coming back now, so... I mean, the Hydra force is big, you know, it's not...
Oh, be so careful with that shuttle. This is, like, overly, insanely aggressive, but Bugs not paying attention to the Hydras to catch this off. Reaver's sandwiching them between the cannons, forcing them to walk forward into death.
Yeah, too bad. This time I'm rooting for the Zerg.
You can root for the Zerg all you want. I got a bad feeling about this one, man.
yeah. 9 drones, you know.
Yeah, these Reavers,
there's just nothing left anymore.
Did so much work, like unbelievable amount of damage. How much they did, and that's like.
I mean, he even got the third up, you know, behind all of that.
Yeah, he started at third. He's building probes there. He queued it all the way to 5. He's like, yeah, they'll be made eventually. But you can see here, like. It actually kind of looks like from what Bugs is building, he might not even realize how much damage he took from those Reavers. I don't see him like trying to rebuild probes, so he might just be like, why am I so poor? And won't notice until he looks back and sees how much actually got killed here. Because otherwise, like, I don't know, like, I feel like you gotta just commit to this big attack. Shuttle, again, being very aggressive, trying to push these Hydras out of there, but this is like the opportunity for Zerg, if they're ever gonna get something done. But Gecko has that good shuttle control and just gets a little bit of free kills, doesn't lose the Reaver for doing it.
I mean, it's really easy to get surprised like that. You know, suddenly 2 Reavers behind you and half your army dying to 2 shots. You know.
Yeah, Reavers are just fantastic. Now, since we see that we have a third Reaver made and we have that another shuttle, now we can go do harassment and be fully ready for defense.
Yeah, I mean, Bugs probably in retrospective, he like if he watched the replay, he could have seen that he was not that far away. I mean, you see the front is broken in. There are only 4 cannons. Like if he had sniped that shuttle that was too aggressive, this game would look differently right now.
Yeah, there's definitely opportunities for that. But Bugs tapping on that one. Gecko holding strong, doing a play that I thought might have been risky, but Bugs just a little bit passive. Gave him that opportunity to go get harassment and come back in time to defend. The game could have gotten real wild if it was like the trade all in when the Reavers weren't around.
Yeah, GG.
Yeah.
Well played, I think. Like, good idea. I don't know if he thought about it before or not, but it's good to mix it up. You know, not just build cannons. Maybe get something else. Surprise your opponent who thinks I'm gonna get an easy win with 3H Hydra.
Yeah, I mean it's a strong build, but Reavers definitely. That is a unit that if your opponent likes to go in Hydras, definitely not out of the way to go get that. But I think like one of the big reasons that you don't see it is if they went Mutas, if they go Spire.
Yeah, of course. But still, I'm pretty sure Bugs has never seen that before, or almost never. You know.
I wouldn't be surprised at all. Now we're getting a matchup of gentlemen, Zerg versus Zerg. In the orange Zerg, we have underscore Kaz, I'm gonna go with Kaz. And in the top, we have Tweed in the purple Zerg. How do you like ZVZ? Do you love it, or are you kind of one of those people who's like, I wish I didn't have to play this stupid matchup?
It's a little bit of both, you know. Like it's a love-hate relationship. You say it's gentlemen's. You know, I say it's a knife fight. You know, it's tough, especially for somebody who's trying to learn the game because everything else, you know, if you macro well, you can probably pull through. This is like not a macro matchup, you know. It's just you need to micro and you need to make good decisions. Something which you don't have a lot of if you try to learn the game. So it's very punishing, I would say.
Absolutely.
But,
Now we do see the comedy that you scout that first Overlord. You go with the math odds that you go for that initial natural expansion. Kaz said no thank you and is going north and he's going to get rewarded. So both players are going to have Overlords sitting over the opponent's base, getting that full vision. And right now it seems like they're doing very mirrored builds, just going for, I think it's a 9 pool? Yeah, they didn't start over pool. So yeah, they're both just doing 9 pool. And they're both getting into an extractor, so it's either going to be lane speed or it's going to be for fast lair, and I'm curious to see which way they go.
yeah, this is as mirrored as it gets. I mean, both are playing the same, both are scouting each other.
Yeah. Now, one of the first big decisions will be, does someone want to skip the link speed for the faster lair? Because then I think at some point, like, let's say you have one player that goes for the lair and the other one go for speed, then you're like going into that path of like, all right, I got to commit to my lane advantage because I'm going to be behind on mutas no matter what I do at this point. So
Yeah.
that's why I like this matchup. It's really, for me, it's fun. If I could, I'd play ZVZ instead of PVZ, honestly.
Really? I would switch it around, but I don't want to learn Protoss, so, you know.
Yeah, no, I don't like dealing with some of the stuff in that matchup, and it's like here I could be like, I'm going in like 10 hatch, 2 hatchery links. Like this, there's a bunch of weird fun stuff you can do, and we are seeing a very different build from our players. We got the lair on the way, but not a lair from Teehee. He's got plenty of gas, but not doing anything with it.
Yeah, no speed, no lair. Probably forgot it at this moment.
Yeah, this is very unfortunate because you see like 300 minerals. That could have been a hatchery. You're like nearing so much, and we are going for that link speed from purple. Both players just running around each other's units, and we're gonna see Teehee hit the 2 links on the map. So knowledge is there. Kaz actually deciding to back off, which I think is smart. When you go for that faster lair, just make sure you don't die to something silly.
Yeah, and he's getting sunk behind that, so he's trying to be as defensive as possible.
Yeah, this is one of those moves that it will reward you so well if you can get it. Now, I don't think this was the best sunken placement particularly, But he is using those drones that were mining gas pretty effectively to help with the defense here. Sunken about to finish. The Lynx didn't quite do enough. I think this gets cleaned up without any issues.
Yeah, he got one drone, I think. Three droned up behind this though. He's like on 11 drones right now.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're going for Lynx, like, drones aren't the problem. Like, you need larva. So that's why, if earlier he was floating 300 minerals, he's still floating plenty. He's saving it up so he can go like fully for Spire and not have to worry about any of this. But if this was another hatchery and he had that larva advantage, then we're really cooking.
Yeah, not right now he could get the Spire up. Each second actually really valuable. You know, like Kaz is gonna have the Spire up earlier anyway, but if you're fast on it, maybe you can, you know, get Scourge up as at the moment the Mutas hit or something and hold them off. But now he's gonna be quite late, so it's tough, you know.
Yeah, I feel like the window's closing for Teehee a little bit here. You see Kaz very defensive positioning with his Lynx to make sure he can buy time through that choke and make the fight as effective as possible to negate that Lynx speed. But if you're going to have Lynx and you're going to put that pressure on, you want to do it right before mutas get made. Because they're going to be saving the larva, they're saving the money, get that maximum value of like extra Lynx. But since he's doing the same thing here, just his Spire's significantly far behind. I think Kaz is just looking like they're in a good spot. They are down a couple drones though, but they got the 3 mutas on the way. They have still 150 gas banked. This is
yes,
oof.
7 drones and 3 drones on gas is actually perfectly fine, you know, for producing mutas of 3 hatches, I think. So
you don't
it's
need
okay.
you don't need a tremendous amount to go for constant muta production.
So the big decision is what he's going to do with these mutas. He's going to kill his Overlord, which would be the wrong decision, or just beeline for the main. But it seems like he's beelining for the main and he's going to get a few drones.
Yeah, you gotta get something done really early, and then you can like go hit the Overlords. The Overlords aren't getting off the map, so they're like if you know where they are, you're fine. You can do whatever you want to do. And we actually see that Teehee get 3 sets of Scourge. Terrible, terrible decision here. He has so many minerals, so much gas. You want to get a little bit of Scourge to help you do this, but you can see 2 of them died as they spawned just to the mutaglaves alone.
Yeah, and the problem also is you need to micro them perfectly, you know, like clone them perfectly to kill all 3 mutas, else you will just rally them all into 1 muta and then that's it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you can see what's happening here. So much drone damage already done. Teehee does have a ton of money banked up, which that could have been spent for so many things. Like I was saying, like getting that earlier hatchery, then you have a larva advantage, or this could have been like get your Evo chamber and a spore colony if you know you're going to lose the muta race. Just not using the resources you have in a matchup this like fine-tuned of like you can't afford to be messing around with your resources, especially your larva. A little unfortunate, but I mean this matchup's hard.
It's super hard, you know. This is something you need to get used to, you know, the whole flow of the game.
Yeah, it's a lot of knowing what your opponent's doing. Where's my advantage? I need to lean into my strength, but you gotta know what it is.
And also one thing, like if you play one of the other matchups and you skimp on the upgrade or you're like a little bit late, it's not that big of a deal most of the time, you know. But if you miss like your speed upgrade for like 3 seconds, it's already a huge deal, you know. So this is something you still need to learn as you play this matchup. Like get that, you have 100 gas, get that speed immediately.
Or that lair. Like I think that is a valid
yeah,
choice to make the choice, but you have to be committed. I don't think this is the matchup you can like dance around and be like, a little, I'm not sure, like no. We do have our players going in for game 2. This one on Bloody Rich. We got Twee in the purple, and we got Kaz in the dark blue. That looks nice. It's pretty good.
Yeah. We saw right at the beginning of the game, Twee messed up his split a bit. Like the drones went behind the mineral line.
Oh,
if there's one matchup where splitting
no.
or at least doing something good with your drones is important, it's this one, you know.
Yeah, that is definitely rough. You don't want to be in that kind of situation. You'll be able to easily see what kind of advantage you're building. You look at Kaz's money; it's like a good 20 minerals ahead, which sounds insignificant, but in a matchup where like 10 drones versus 9 is a notable lead. Like everything matters, every little bit.
This is going to be like 1 or 2 seconds earlier pool. You can see it right now.
Yeah, and Twee delaying there just a little bit. We'll sit at 20 or 200 just for that tiniest bit. Kaz slightly ahead, but we're getting the same openings from both players again, going for that fast 9 pool.
Good call, I think, on this map. It's really risky to play something else. I mean, you could probably play like an overpool, try to predict that your opponent is going 9 pool speed.
I would definitely like going over pool, especially since we saw, like, from that first game, a little difference in the priority that we saw. Cause they didn't care about their link speed, they wanted that fast lair. And overpool, I think, sits well with that you have that slight bit more money, so you can afford a sunken if you feel like you need it, something like that. We're getting a little foreshadowing spoilers in there. But that is a point to talk about, that spawning pool for Twee compared to the one for Kaz. So much more surface area for Twee's right over there. And like, one of the easiest things to think about is, if I was gonna defend the space, where would I put a sunken? And you want everything near each other, so that's why it's like you should see the spawn pool up by that extractor. So like, one sunken middle covers the gas, covers the spire, covers the pool, covers your mineral line. Right now, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, it's good to just get used to doing it all the time in every matchup. Just put your spawning pool between your mineral line and your extractor whenever you can.
Now we're seeing the difference in builds, but this time it's reversed. We see Twee going for that fast lair, and Kaz is getting the link speed this time. And Kaz has 6 links already moving across the map, and if you look at Twee, I don't see him. I don't see nothing. This is tragic. He's got a couple extra drones, but he had an Overlord.
That was a really risky mistake.
He had an Overlord. I think he saw the move out, but we're not seeing any kind of reaction, not rushing for that sunken colony in time. It's just about to finish, but there's so many links here already. I don't know. This is dicey.
No, I think it's still okay. I think Kaz just waited a little bit too long at the natural. He should have moved in immediately. Now, I mean, he might get a drone or two, but
well,
that sunken is scary.
Well, like the foreshadowing, that pool is not in range of the sun being attacker from the bottom.
And more links are coming in. He's, like, producing non-stop. Yeah, and there it is, as you said. He can hit the.
Oh, this is
pool.
Not like this. Oh no, not like this. And now we see the spire being made. Same mistake, kind of, that it has a lot of surface area on the outside, but if you're Kaz, like, you feel real good right now that you already did enough damage where you should feel comfortable.
Yeah, just kill the spire and it's over.
Keep going with your links. Just keep going in.
Yeah.
This is tragic. Now we are seeing from Kaz that he isn't going to that lair. Has plenty of gas. Could start the lair. Just be ready for mutas later. Especially if he keeps denying the spire. That's definitely a path he wants to take. But he has so much minerals, not building that second hatchery. So
he could get second hatchery, as you said.
Yeah, he needs to. I feel like he could have done that so long ago. He already still is floating $400 after building a hatchery. And we're seeing Twee, without having real good knowledge of what's going on, actually getting evolution chamber. So he has
even though he has the scout,
Yeah, it's right over there. He sees there's no lair. But I mean, when the game's going like rough like this, you're not thinking about little stuff like that. It's
yeah, of course, this is like a panic reaction. I completely understand.
Yo, this skin though, dude, listen, Carbot's great. I play Carbot when I actually play this game. I'm casting tier 3 the day after my birthday. We're doing Carbot. Like, you're gonna enjoy the skin all you want.
Yeah, this hurts even more. He's getting spores now. He can't get Sunkens, of course, because he doesn't have a pool. All Kaz has to do is just build more links.
Yeah, but like this, the pool's not even being made. Like, what is the plan here? And honestly, I don't like. He's putting pressure on the spores, which okay, but you shouldn't be doing that. Like, you should be fighting drones right now because there's no sunken, there's no units. Start picking away at drones.
Yeah, like get an army that's big enough and you can just overwhelm the whole base.
Yeah, and you see Kaz, like, he lost an Overlord to a spore colony, I guess. So he's a little bit supply blocked at the moment, but he's sitting right at the entrance. The face of fear. There they are. They're ferocious.
I mean, too, you could actually restart the spire as well at this point. Like if he got Mutas,
Yeah. Actually, one thing that would have been pretty useful, I think, is you see where you put the evolution chamber? If you put the spire right below it, and there's only that one hex of surface area, that might be something you could defend with drone drilling.
he's getting 2 pools now. I'm pretty sure that's
Yeah, there's a lot of
a
panic.
panic reaction.
There's a lot of panic going on, and this is what I wanted. This is why I'm like, birthday cast. We're doing tier 3. This is gonna be fun.
No, I mean, I can absolutely feel it. You have links in your base, your pool died, everything is going, like, I don't know, like everything is just hard, hard to do. Like, it's, this is when you learn this game. If you lose grasp of the game, sometimes it's just really hard to get it back.
Oh yeah, like when things go wrong, like
Yeah.
I have plan when I play like a PvZ. I got a real good plan until forward links run past my cannon wall, and then I am panicking. I have no
Yeah, and
idea.
suddenly,
The game's over. I'm mentally done.
yeah, suddenly you mess up the most simplest thing, If you build 2 pools, yeah.
Now, like, to be a little bit critical, because we can be critical of what Kaz is doing, he could have gotten those hatcheries much faster. He could have went to Spire. He had the air advantage. Like, he could have been doing so much things, and he didn't do any of that kind of stuff. Even if, like, you were in this spot, like we're talking this, like, late situation here, where it's like, you don't want to put your link in the drone line because you're afraid of a drill. That's understandable, too. But, like, you could sunken push stuff. Like, you could do so much stuff when your opponent's at a position like this. But, I mean, Kaz made lanes. He closed it out. No big deal.
Yeah. I mean, also one thing you can do is just wait until you have more links. You kept attacking with like 6 or something. Like your opponent cannot produce any sancts, he cannot produce any links. Just wait until you have more links and then overwhelm them.
Okay, so that is the end of the Zerg games tonight. We're going to be switching casters. Thank you for joining me. This is fun.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So you're going to give me a second, guys, to switch it up. We're going to bring in Danant, and we're going into some Terran vs. Protoss. So hang around. It's going to be fun.
Alright, bye guys.
Alright, let's call this dude. No? Hello?
Hello?
Hello? I can
Hear
hear
me?
you. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can.
Fantastic. Is that like a little chibi? What is that? What is that commander? That's a StarCraft 2 commander, right? Your Discord icon.
Yeah, it's what's his name? Oh god, I forgot. It's
I think it's something with an S. I don't know. I don't play. I don't play the
yeah,
co-op commander
Stukov.
stuff.
Alexei Stukov. Yeah.
Fantastic. So we're not joined by Danant, the young blood of CPL. So we're gonna.
Ooh.
He's gonna carry me because we got some TVP and we got a PvP just for him because I need to. We're gonna bust him in.
There's PvP.
There's a PvP. Yep.
Oh god.
But
I
don't
don't know anything about P.
Oh no, we're gonna educate you. But we're starting with the Terran vs. Protoss, so don't worry about it.
Great.
All right. So I got the game up. Feel free to join on in when you're ready.
Alright.
So were you watching the games we were casting before? Because we saw a little bit of the comedy, but
end.
some people, playing the way they should, playing some normal builds, and then it's going through that learning experience. And then some people doing what I expect Tier 3 to be doing a little bit.
Alright. Alright, give me a quick second, I'll be right there.
Not a problem.
Here we are.
Alright, fantastic. Alright, so we're going to be going into Game 1. It's on Neil Silphid. And I believe this is QuakeCom versus Thesis.
I know Thesis actually. I played him in RSL. I lost in the preliminaries, unfortunately. But he was my last opponent, and I floated a Rax in his base. And he saw it, but he didn't, if that makes sense. As in, it was in his screen, but he never did anything about it.
That is, what, like, why? Come on, man. RSL? You're gonna do stuff like that in the RSL? But we'll hammer that point. Like, we're not dropping that one, but I'm gonna introduce the players real quick. We have Quakecom in the green Protoss in the bottom right, and we have Thesis in the purple Terran in the bottom left. You're playing RSL. Like, it's not for money, man. It's for like improvement and doing better. And you floated a Rax in their base, and that would be TBT, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Come on, man.
In my defense, in my defense, I had already lost, and I thought to myself, all right, if I lose, I might as well go out with a bang, right?
No.
No.
No, like if you're like, they're definitely better than me as a player, then just do a real cheat. It's like you could have like BBS'd them or something. Like
I didn't know
something
what
real.
BBS was. I didn't know what BBS was at that point.
Oh, okay. Well,
I mean,
RSL
I didn't know
has been a
how
while
to
ago.
BBS.
Yeah. I mean, it's a barracks and then another barracks and then a supply depot.
What? It's all in the name? Oh my god. I'm mind blown.
It's okay. We all go through these things while you're learning stuff. I've done worse mistakes in the past, for sure. Especially when I wasn't playing Protoss and I used to play Zerg. I've done some awful stuff.
Oh man. I mean, I've been told that a few months ago I was a bit of a meme lord. So,
CPL's
I guess that was
bunch
to
of
be
those.
expected.
Now, why would you call yourself a meme lord? What did you do?
Oh, I didn't call myself a meme lord. Some other people call me a meme lord, like Mr. Wizard, Least.
Okay, then you're probably
Some people in the
you're
El
probably,
Master server.
Yeah, you're probably a memer then.
Thank you.
That's okay. So we're not seeing anything unusual from either player just yet. We just always like around this time, maybe you'll see something a little interesting. Protoss just getting. They are going for not a committed 2-gate goon play because they're getting the second pylon before the second gateway. So
Yeah.
I mean, other than that though, it seems pretty stock standard. We got that first factory production. Guys get pulled off gas, so Thesis looking like they want to prep up to take that fast expansion instead of like some kind of 2 factory.
He has rolled in though, which I can't say I like. I actually really hate walls
Why?
because especially when you're going mech, they get in the way. And even when I'm playing TVZ and I get a few tanks and then I have to destroy the bunker at the natural, and then it's a huge pain because I'm like wasting 150 minerals and it feels bad and it gets in the way.
Yeah,
And
but see, like, what if there was like some kind of early zealot pressure? That wall is going to keep you alive, especially if you're trying to skip like the first vulture to rush tanks faster. So
yeah, but you can do the same thing with SimCity.
I mean, this is buildings as a wall. Isn't that your SimCity? he like you see, he really skimped on Marines. He's rushing machine shop, not a first vulture. So this wall offs the plan to defend against the vultures or against the zealots if there was a zealot pressure. So I like this. He's skipping a lot of corners. It gets that super fast command center. It's going to be set up quite well going into the mid game.
I was putting it in his natural actually.
He's not building anything that's natural. What do you mean?
What am I saying? In his main.
Yeah, like he's being super defensive. He's going for siege tanks first. He's gonna do that really slow, super I'm not gonna die kind of expansion.
Yeah.
But I mean, you see this kind of stuff in like fighting spear things with ramps too. But I mean, this doesn't have a ramp, so he's kind of making his own nice little fortified position. I've actually seen a pretty fast engineering bag. Is this unusual? Is he like worried about DTs or something?
I think it's because he didn't scout. Because what you're looking for is the expansion, right? And if you don't see the Nexus up by 420, you get instant eBay because he might be going DTs.
Okay, that's a fair timing. DT rush tends to hit around like 5 minutes, so
Yeah.
it seems pretty fair.
But like you said, he's just going really, really, really safe. He's cutting corners in his attack force, but he's not gonna die anytime soon.
no, not at all. He's actually
This tank is in such a bad position. Oh
yeah,
man,
very
that
far
hurt.
forward with those tanks. That was completely unnecessary. Now, if you
Yeah.
have these goons like with this kind of wall off, it's hard to like put the goon pressure on like the supply depots at a safe spot because there's just no surface area to do it. But the tanks don't have to be right next to the barracks to defend that. So
Yeah, for
a
sure.
little sloppy to lose one tank, but he sees that it wasn't a lot of goons. They're not setting up shop in the natural, making it hard to actually land the CC. They're just conceding the ground. So I'm actually feel pretty good about Terran's position here.
I mean, yeah, but the losing one tank early on always hurts a lot, and it can really affect your early pushes because like one tank can get so much value, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Now we are seeing like again like just very confident play from Thesis. Like he's not getting a bunker to help secure this up or anything. He's floating this barracks over to help wall it off, and we're still not seeing him switch into vultures or any kind of stuff like that. It's just going to be so much muscle with these siege tanks.
Yeah, but soon enough he's gonna have his second factory up and start getting vultures out. It's not a bad idea to concentrate on tanks early on because obviously Protoss isn't gonna have a very zealot focused army, so having a lot of tanks to deal with the dragoons is going to be really helpful.
Yeah, I'm looking around the Protoss base. I'm a little intrigued. We're seeing a Stargate go down pretty quickly, but it's not being joined up with a Templar archive. So, if it's maybe just a little bit off if it's supposed to be some kind of Arbiter thing, but when you just see that one Stargate and it's just kind of going, I'm thinking it might be carriers, which, if this is 2-base carrier on Sylphid, that's wild.
Man, I'm just hoping for scouts. Oh, but there's a Templar archives. It's going to be arbiters after all, unfortunately.
I mean, like, that's fine, but, like, this is the kind of thing that the unit, they line up so well that you can start them at the same time and pretty much get done. You can see, like, until the Temple Archive is done, you can't even start the Arbiter Tribunal. But that could delay the third Nexus, doing all that kind of stuff. So it feels like things going a little bit out of order. Even though it's all the buildings and all the stuff you're kind of looking for, the ordering could give the Protoss a much bigger advantage than they have. You can actually see here, the worker count, the unit count, very similar between the two players. And I don't know. Like, we need to... I'm worried for Quake. It's going to be difficult to hold this 5 factories.
Yeah, I mean, especially since 5 factories is really good against 2-base arbiter, because I believe you can hit them before arbiters are out.
Yeah,
Not 100% sure about that. I haven't played any TVP whatsoever for a very long time. In fact, I've played none since I've started the game a few months ago.
You've never played TVP?
I played a few games when I started, and I mean it's so bad now that it was better the day I started playing. So that says
that is interesting. I'm not sure that's a great feeling. Now we do see that we're Quake tried to get an observer and lost it. I don't think they actually have a real idea of how many factories and how many have add-ons. This is dangerous to try to go into mid game and just guess correctly, because you would see if you were under the impression that's like, oh, this is gonna be this big factory push. More gateways would have been added a while ago.
I mean, as a Protoss, you can't guess what he's doing.
No.
Right? You want to be able to react to everything he does, which is why you have observers.
Well, it's not so much reacting. It's just like when you see, if you get like the idea of the factory count, or are they going for a lot of upgrades and this kind of thing, you know, how you're going to build your army moving forward. And you can see here, like this fight in the middle, it did like the fight went reasonably okay. It's like one tank barely lived, a couple vultures, but this reinforcement, you don't have the gateways to match it. So even though the first fight went okay, now that third base is under tremendous threat.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're actually seeing here, we're trying to get a couple more gateways up. Still very light on them. An Arbiter Tribunal just starting now, so we're quite a while away before those have any actual combat effectiveness. little unfortunate, but I mean, especially at this level, the macro is going to be a little difficult. It's going to be hard to get everything the way you want to. Look at all these mines just at the front. It's going to be impossible to move out here. And Quake actually just GGing, realizing the spot's not looking good.
Vultures are pretty good, man.
Yeah.
They're pretty good.
Yeah, they are. Freaking Happy Meal toys that come with stupid mines.
I have to correct you there. The mines are the Happy Meal toy.
No, you bought vultures for 3
no,
mines,
and
then you get the Happy Meal toy.
You buy the mines.
Yeah.
You buy the mines for 75 minerals. The vultures are an extra.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Were we saying the same thing and disagreeing with each other?
Whatever, maybe.
Alright.
Instead of doing that, we can get into the game too. This is gonna be on Bloody Ridge. I think this map is a lot more interesting for how you're gonna move your army around when you play against Terran. So, curious to see if this one goes a little bit better. But it's just one of the worst things that you could do in this matchup is you have that observer, and you don't have an idea of like how many factories. Is it 1 armory? Is it 2? Do I see a science facility? You get an idea looking at all that kind of stuff of what push you might be facing and when it's about to hit. We'll see if we get a better reaction this time. In the bottom left, we have Quake Com in that like nice pale blue kind of Protoss, and Thesis taking the magenta Terran in the top right.
Awesome. This map is actually really good for mech. And
so I mean,
a bit less importantly,
you do say mech. Like, do you play? Are you one of those bio boys for TVP?
Oh. No, unfortunately not. But I was gonna say it's forward for bio, but no one goes bio in TVP. So this is looking pretty favorable for Terran already.
I mean, I don't know if I would go quite that far. It seems like it's going to be hard to move things around, but like the main has so much open area. Getting a recall in seems like it's going to be pretty easy. It's there's not like a ton of bases to take, but Protoss should be able to get like the ones on the left side plus like something in the middle. If you can keep Terran on 3 base, you have a reasonable shot because it's not like Fighting Spear where it's like this triangle death defense that you're never going to break through. So I don't know how much I would like really say that, but moving around the map between those little high ground spokes things, that definitely seems like a nightmare to play against Terran.
Right. I mean, I feel like if you get a good position as Terran on those ridges, especially on those ridges, it's gonna be so hard to break, right? Because you have the tanks on the ridge, and you have the vultures in front, you have the Goliaths in front, and then you have to grind through all of the Goliaths and trying to hit the tanks, and you can't really.
Yeah, but see, like the one big thing is like if the tanks are all set up on the ridges and everything, you're right, that is very hard to break. But there's a north and a south path, and it's going to be hard for Terran to actually fully secure both sides of it. So you just move around, and then you force them out of position. You can start killing off reinforcements, force them to move, because the high ground's nice in the middle, but it's not like it's pretty far away from like the other expansions in the natural. So like if you want to actually put pressure on and get something done, you got to abandon that safety.
Sounds pretty logical.
Well, we'll see what the players want to do here. I'm curious to see if the opening is a little different for QuakeCom, because it did look like they were going for like some fast tech. They cooked that third base, very greedy on not adding on more gateways in time, thinking they were not going to get pushed. You get hit like that in game 1. I hope you would adapt your build and try to do something a little more. No, I need some muscle this time. So maybe a little more gateways, maybe like slower arbiter, so you can get just like more units in general, and then have a better shot of fighting that army straight up.
I like that Thesis placed the barracks at the choke to block entry to his base, to deny the scout.
Weren't you
pretty smart move?
Weren't you just complaining about him walling off in game 1?
Okay, there's a difference here. There's walling off with depots, which get in the way later on, and then there's walling off with the barracks only, where you can lift it and put it somewhere else. so it doesn't get in the way later on. You don't have to destroy your barracks to get through.
No, that's fair. Now we are seeing different build from Thesis, putting that pressure on. We're going for some classic 2-fac, classic Terran shenanigans. Rather than,
Ooh.
like, why play the real game when you could play the 2-fac game?
Easy. I've tried 2-facking, actually. It hasn't worked out too well for me.
No?
Yeah.
What
Lots of bad things happened, to say the least.
What usually happens to you?
I push, and then they have stuff, and then I die.
Well, you're supposed to have more stuff. more stuff,
Maybe.
better stuff.
Or maybe it's because I have not enough stuff, but I wait too long.
Oh.
And then they get more stuff than I do, because they know I'm getting stuff.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that seems reasonable. Now we're seeing from Thesis a little bit of aggressive look on the build. Added on to 5 Marines, like who's queuing them up for a little bit. Stop production, so I think he wants to lift up and push forward. He's going to get a couple tanks. He's researching mines and vulture speed. So this is going to be a pretty scary force, and there's just the 2 goons here. They could do a good job slowing this down, but that is micro-intensive, and always curious to see if that's something the lower end players can actually do without like losing goons or not actually slowing it down.
Yeah.
Actually, they're just backing off. They're not even going to see this. Oh no!
Yeah. You have to know, man. You have to see it. Okay. These Marines should be a bit of a telltale.
Well, I mean, you see the push out now.
With the SCVs.
You don't need to hide anything when you have 3 tanks to match their 3 dragoons. But we see the attempt. We are trying to slow this down and choke them through that middle section. Anything you can do here to slow this down a little bit. We got the robotics nearing production. Just got to be so careful here. And this is actually going around that high ground area you were talking about. Going kind of slow. I feel like if he just kept going, this is not enough for the Protoss player to actually defend it. Just gotta like hard commit to it.
Yeah, for sure. And he's waiting around the middle too. That's such a bad idea.
Yeah, the longer they're waiting, you're giving that opportunity for Protoss to have more gateways, maybe get into like a Reaver tech or something like that. The Goons in position to stop that going through the middle, but they went around instead. Goons getting caught off a little bit here. Now the army's almost at the doorstep.
He's going to have to do a bit of target firing here. But those Marines are gonna be a bit of pain to deal with because they tank so many shots. And it looks like the probes are gonna be pulled. And
Ooh,
that mine.
That mine had got a lot of damage done.
Yeah.
I feel like we've seen the machine shops idle for a while. I'm surprised that there wasn't actually the attempt to research siege mode instead here and like really siege down its natural, just trying to muscle the way through. But Dees is barely winning through this fight. Gonna have to reinforce with vultures. So as the goons pop up, they might be okay, but you gotta actually build up the number and not lose them to mines like this. Oh no.
Youches.
Yeah. We got speed vultures, and there's just probes. There's just probes sitting there, and they're so juicy. Oh no. It's gonna be terrible.
Oh, and the mine laying too. Quick come call GG, and that'll be it.
You dirty freaking Terran players. Like,
Come on.
How is
Hey,
how is this acceptable?
Don't put us all in the same basket, man. I don't 2-fact a lot. I've only been 2-facking because I suck at TVP, and I still lose anyways.
So once you learn it and you start winning the games, then you're in there. Yeah, it's a Sagi. See, Pete gets it in the chat. You could be one of the Snipes followers and say Zerg is the broken one, but Terra's the broken one too. Every race is broken except the one I play, obviously.
Yep.
No, even them. Like, Protoss is broken too. Everything's broken. This whole game is just broken, but that's why it's fun, because everyone's broken.
Yeah. And apparently it's balanced.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the map.
Somehow.
Alright, so this is going to be our last series of the night, and it's a little Protoss vs. Protoss. I knew you were going to be so happy and so thrilled to be casting some of this. It's going to be fun. We have Hella Bacon, He is that pale yellow Protoss in the top side. Then we got Zergling in the brown on the bottom right, which is, the name. He sounds like that's a Zerg player that gave up and switched to Protoss.
Yeah.
But I think that's completely fine. So what do you know about Protoss versus Protoss? Anything at all?
I heard it was like rock, paper, scissors. And if you do this and they do that, you just leave. And you call GG.
It is a little bit like that. The typical, how people would call it, like, oh, it's RPS. It's that, are you getting detection? Are you skipping detection for a bigger army, or did you get DTs? Now, this is also one of those mirror matchups. I mean, it happens with all of them, but I think like Protoss vs. Protoss particularly really showcases it well, where you have to know where you're better than your opponents and really lean into it. So, like, that could be the kind of thing where it's like, my expansion up's a little bit ahead. I was a little bit greedier. Don't be all the way greedier, but just protect your advantage, and that's going to carry you through forward in a good way. So if you have your early expansion, you don't have to put on a lot of pressure. If you got the faster tech, you should be trying to harass and get something done. If you have like one more gateway than them, you should be putting pressure on to his army count. Know where your lead is and pressure into it.
Speaking of, Hallibacon has one more worker than Zergling. I don't know if that's a lot. I don't know if that's little.
It's kind of a lot considering there's really no reason for it. Protoss openings at the very beginning, unless you're doing something that doesn't involve gas, they're all pretty much the same opening. It's constant probe production, and then you get the other pieces as you can afford them. But you can see like Zergling really off on the build. The Cybercore notably far behind, down a worker just about halfway through it. And it's not like he's building up minerals, didn't get like a second gateway or anything like that. You even see it here, like, he's actually building that initial zealot to, I don't know if he's just a little bit worried or that's the style he likes, while Hellbacon just getting another pylon, really just powering up.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a little bit interesting. I've never actually seen someone like fall behind on probes like that, so I think maybe the initial pylon got a little supply blocked or got a little distracted trying to scout. That kind of typical stuff that happens to everybody. Now we do see Zergling in the top base. He sees that the Cybercore starts lighting up, so it's usually for researching Dragoon range, unless your opponent's being real tricky and trying to fake you out. But that's like one of the things you want to look for, because if you see them spend the 150 gas on that, it's not going to be like the hardest DT rush or some crazy proxy tech play. At least you have a little bit of a window to be like, this is probably a normal game. So we got one game from each player. What do you think? It's gonna be robotics? You think someone's gonna try to expand? You gotta take like, some hard guesses, man. I want a hot take.
Oh man, I don't know. I don't know, but there's this Zealot here who might do a bit of damage. And if he gets a probe, then that probe count might just...
Yeah, if he can kill like 2 probes with this Zealot definitely worth the money it costs to get there. He's gonna definitely get one, and he's stopping a little bit of mining with the other, getting some scouting info, which is always invaluable.
He actually got 2 kills with that Zealot.
Yeah, I would say it was definitely worth it then anyway, because you build that early Zealot, the main thing for that is that if it was some really crazy aggressive player, like proxy gates, some kind of cheese, you have that little extra muscle to help you get through. But now he used it, got some effective value out of it, and got a good scout, get his idea what his opponent's doing. Meanwhile, Hellbacon just hiding a probe in the main for the other player. He's going to see exactly what's going on too. And he's going to see it's 2-gate robotics for Zergling, while Hellbacon has a robotics and a second gateway just a little bit later.
That's interesting. I don't know where the difference is split here, because I mean, what do you usually get with your Robo Bay? Do you get your robotics facility rather? Do you get observers or like reavers? What are you trying to go for here?
So once you can write your opponent off being on DTs, like if you got a good scout, saw like, oh, they have a robot, I know for sure they're not going DTs. It is kind of a choice if you want to rush to Reavers and try to get something done, or just go for observers, be safe, and see what your opponent's up to. So really, the choice is a little bit more that like Circling got the 2 gateways, then the robotics. Bacon got 1 gate of robotics, then the other gate. And you can see like, as you're looking through here, Circling has a little bit more workers after doing that Zealot damage, but he's actually a little bit down in supply because Bacon, without getting the infrastructure so early, kept up his production, didn't have those little gaps where he wasn't building Dragoons. You actually see here now Bacon moving out with 5, while Circling only has 4, trying to move into the natural. Now, if Circling could see that there's no Nexus there, that'll be good knowledge to know that it's not his opponent being defensive. He didn't spend all his money on the Nexus. So that's why usually you see early observers. You gotta know, did they get a Nexus? How many gates do they have? I need to have an idea what's going on.
Right. Now, we're seeing that Bacon's robotic support bay is much earlier than Circling's, and that's probably going to be a pretty big advantage, right? Getting Reavers out faster.
I mean, Reavers out faster is definitely an advantage, but you got to think of it in the term of how are they actually going to matter. So you have the Reaver out for Bacon, but where's the shuttle? There's no shuttle, so he can't move out and actually put pressure on it. It's just for defense. You actually see that's why he's going for this Nexus. So that's the much more important that the Nexus is ahead. Now, if Circling, he has his Reaver on the way, but he didn't build a shuttle beforehand either. He's trying to do the same thing, where he's just going to be a little defensive. He's not going to try to like use the Reaver as like offensive harassment tools. So really, it's going to be to figure out how does this catch up, because Bacon's Nexus is a lot faster, but he's been cutting a lot of workers to get this unit count up, to get this Nexus up faster. So we're going to see if he can actually catch up on that probe count, which, I mean, this Nexus is pretty far ahead. I think you can.
Wow, this is such a complicated matchup. You have to be up on so many fronts, and if you slip up, then the other guy has a pretty good advantage.
Yeah, I mean, this is all the mirror matchups feel like they have a little bit of this, but this is what I was like stressing that early. It's like you got to know where you're better than your opponents and take advantage of it. So you can see that here from Bacon. He's got the faster Nexus. He's defensive. He's pulling his goons back to that Reaver to defend because Circling's Reaver isn't here. That's why Circling can't keep pressuring. That Nexus is fine. It isn't getting shut down at all. Now from here, we're gonna have to see like the next big step after you get past this initial like thing where it's like, can I get an expansion up? Am I about to die to like 4 gauge units? Now it's like, is there gonna be some kind of re-harass? And then who's gonna be that first one to either go for that 3rd base, or are they gonna add on a lot of gates and go for like a big 2 base army to punish when your opponent goes for that 3rd base? Or it could just be who's going for that Templar attack faster, because Reavers are good, but Storm is better.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, actually, Bacon has 2 Reavers, so I don't think this is gonna be easy to break for Circling.
No, it's definitely not going to be easy to break.
Circling is getting a shuttle, so he's going for Reaver harass, right?
Yeah, well, the bigger thing is that you see he's actually getting shuttle speed as well, so that's going to be able to pull his opponent out of position to help defend this. But you can see Bacon way ahead of the game. Look at this ring of Dragoons. So much caution to defend against this drop, which is like pretty far away. But he knows I'm faster on my Nexus. I'm faster on my unit production. Like I'm feeling comfortable about how things are going, and he's now going for tech. He just wants to make sure he doesn't die to harassment.
Yeah. Really strong defense. Really strong use of the knowledge that he's got better tech. He's got better economy soon.
Yeah, now we're seeing that really some different decision making. Bacon going for that faster tech. The Citadel already completed for him, so if he wants to go into the Templars, he's going to be a lot quicker to the punch. But certainly taking that 3rd base, it is only a mineral only, but still, just having that extra money for Zealots and Dragoons, definitely going to be very effective. So We're gonna see can Circling with his speed shuttle harass his opponent, staying back and get that third base up securely. We'll see.
Ooh. It's got a second Reaver coming with it too.
Yeah, I mean, like Reavers are such a power unit, like because if nothing else, they can hit Dragoons really easily, do a bunch. But if you have to walk like Zealots through a field of Reavers, it's just a nightmare. It's like
Oh, good.
Storm's really good too, but if you have like the combination of both, there's so much high impact splash damage, makes it very hard to actually attack into things. Which is why like if Circling gets his expansion up, and then he's like putting this his opponent in the same kind of situation, like no, you attack into me, I'm not dealing with this crap. Help Bacon taking that third Nexus. He's taking it at the high ground, which is going to be easier to defend to begin with, but it also has a gas. So he has the slower third base, but it's definitely a more valuable one.
Yep.
Now, one thing we are seeing that it feels like both players are a little bit light on adding gateways, finally starting to add some on, but wanted to make sure they got those third bases up, started to get that tech going a little bit faster.
I mean, I'm not talking much now because I'm kind of like amazed, you know.
Well,
I'm
I'm
kind of watching.
I mean, so you look at the spot here. You think it's gonna make the first move because they can't just both like no rush the max supply. Someone's got to make a move. Who do you think it's gonna be?
Oh man, I don't know because I mean, Circling obviously has a bigger army, right? He's got the advantage of that. He's got map control. He can be taking bases while reinforcing his army.
Okay.
He can also attack, but Hellebaken has a pretty strong defense.
Well,
right?
so
He's got two Reavers sitting there. He's got a line of Dragoons. He's got Observers if there's any invisible shenanigans going on.
Well, I mean, Circling has these Reavers too, and like you said, the supply is a little bit ahead for Circling, so he does have a little bit more punch to his army. But remember, look at Hellebaken's main. How many units are back there to defend a drop? So even though supply is like just slightly ahead for Circling, a lot of that's not in this fight.
Actually, he's putting a lot of his army to the main now. Ooh, and Circling's trying to poke here and there, trying to catch something.
This is definitely going to be a dangerous spot for Hellebaken. If Circling can push a little bit further forward to get a good foothold at this choke and make Hellebaken walk through the choke to engage his army with the better concave, he's going to be feeling very confident about that. Oh, moves forward so quickly, loses the shuttle and both Reavers. A little bit reckless from Circling to poke forward like that. Now he has to retreat. The advantage he had, it's gone.
Yeah, and Hellebaken's High Templar are coming out right now. And they have Storm. It's gonna be pretty good.
They're building up the energy. Did they actually research Storm? I was not paying attention.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw him researching it.
That makes sense.
And I think it finished not that long ago. However, Circling is going for some nice Dark Templar.
Yeah.
They played that I really like. And I'm I'm pretty biased. Okay? I like them I like that Dark Templar. They're pretty cool. They're fun to use. They do a lot of damage. And they make one of the coolest units in the game.
I agree with you. I'm not all fronts. I'm going to agree with you. Now we saw Hellebaken trying to get a little bit of that advantage back, trying for a Reaver drop of the main. Circling spotted out and reacted very quickly, pulled off all his probes. The Reaver shot didn't even get fired into the probe line. And now you can see there's a big part of the army Circling finding Hellebaken a little too far forward, and it's getting a lot of damage done. That does unit supply for Circling really building very quickly.
Oh man, he wasted one Storm there.
I mean, those Storms still doing a lot of damage, but this is just so many Dragoons in comparison to what Hellebaken has because of how much was in the main just hanging out. He's still not pulling it out. These Dragoons pushing forward, there's not really a lot here to defend it. if he wanted to get the keep going forward, I think Zergling could even threaten to take that natural.
Yeah.
But I mean, I respect that he wants to. He's backing off. He doesn't want to really continue in the spot where he's not confident he can get the job done. But you can see here that Zergling doesn't have knowledge about this third base. He has a probe that he sent over in the area, but it didn't go up the base and get killed by the cannons. He actually has no idea this is here. Like, no observer saw it or anything. He can intuit it if he thinks so, because he knows that there's not bases being taken in the other common spots. But like this economy advantage for Hell Bacon, he actually still has more probes. He's down on unit supply, but that's going to catch up eventually.
Oh man, I'm feeling pretty tense here. This is kind of nerve-wracking, like the kind of standoff, because I mean, Zergling knows Bacon has a smaller army, but he's in a pretty good position for defense, right?
Well, I mean,
Like
if you're yeah, it's going to be hard to push through that. But this is when you go looking around, see if there's another expansion, or if you just feel confident, which Zergling's finally doing, you just take your next base. If you're like, I think he might be on 3, but he definitely doesn't have 4, and you have that map control, use it. Like, add on your infrastructure for later, get the next base going.
I mean,
the robotic support bay is a bunch of vacuums? Yeah, it is a bunch of vacuums. Carbine's great. The other thing you gotta look for a Carbot, everything Zerg has a smiley face on it. Somewhere.
Oh my god, yes.
Every
I know.
building, every unit, all of them. They all have a smiley face.
Yeah, it's... God, it's awesome. Like, I mean, the shuttles look so depressed, too. They have like this kind of bittersweet smile on their faces. Oh, the shuttle... It's going places where it shouldn't be. And it's trying to do stuff that it might die for, and the Reavers...
There's a much bigger fight that's happening in the middle of the map. He did drop the Reavers back in that base, but the cannons are in range to help defend that, so the Reaver gotta be very careful. It does die to a cannon, and now this fight in the middle of the map, you gotta see how it's actually going. Hell Bacon has a pretty sizable worker lead, and the units, it's about kind of even. The Storm really equalizing this fight in a much better way. And with Zergling had a big unit lead, now if you look at it, Hell Bacon's up 40.
Yeah. And the Dark Templar are so much damage, right? They're weak, but when you combine them with the bigger army, like everything is just like meat shields for them, right? Because you're not targeting the Dark Templar. And if you do, then everything else obliterates you. So having these Dark Templar is insanely helpful.
Especially since you do have to be careful to keep observers with your army. It's really easy to have them scouting the opponent's base, scouting other naturals, and you don't really want to be spending a whole bunch of gas on these things. And we see Hell Bacon pushing into that 4th base, certainly finished it. There wasn't a probe saturation there, but that base is definitely gone now. And we're back to that 3 base versus 3 base situation we were before, but again, Hell Bacon with that later 3rd is going to stand up a little bit longer, and it's the more high value one since it has a gas. I think Zergling should be feeling the pressure now and should have to get something done, but look at this little group of Hell Bacon. It gets split off and kind of caught out. Luckily it's speed cell, so it should be able to mostly get away, but loses some units for free.
Oh man.
Oh, this is so dangerous. We see Hell Bacon, this little fight force drawing the units up north above where his 4th was. This is giving him that pressure to push into this middle 3rd that he took. There's a lot of cans here, but he's actually just trying to target the Nexus down, it looks like. And this is very dangerous for Hell Bacon. This might be a bit of an overcommitment. He didn't bring everything to get the job done, and he's ignoring the cans that were the only thing defending him. Actually throws away his lead. Now we're back to back even supply.
However, Hell Bacon is expanding twice behind that push.
Yeah,
So
if
he might have a
him up.
pretty good economic lead. If these 2 bases get up and get saturated.
Yeah, we're starting to see that we're pretty far into the game, especially when you compare other matchups and how many bases you get to take. Circling's out in the main and about to be mined out as natural. In comparison, Hellbacon's definitely mined out as main and very about to be mined out as natural. So getting that next base up and secure is going to be such a big deal, and Circling feeling the pressure because he is just not in that situation right now. Actually,
And you can
there's a lot
you
of
can
pressure.
see that the go ahead.
I was saying there's a lot of pressure being put towards that third mineral only. There's a Reaver there and like a High Templar, but other than that, the cannons are about to die. And with this many Dragoons, this is not gonna be enough to defend it.
Yeah. And you can really see the difference in economy later on with that number of workers, right?
Yeah, it
Because
definitely
once you
builds
start out, it's not really that visible. But if you start building workers consistently, and you start building a good number, and you saturate all of your bases really fast, it starts pumping you a lot of money, and you can get a lot from that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we see that Circling did manage to drive Hellbacon back a little bit. He didn't end up losing that mineral third, but the next is at about 1/3 health, and there's another fighting force moving back down again. Not quite enough for Circling to defend it, but I actually would love for Hellbacon to switch and put pressure on that pseudo high ground fourth base that Circling took, because there's no cannons, there's no units. That's the easiest kill of his life if he just goes over
Yeah.
there.
I mean, this is starting to look a bit like a sort of SK Terran kind of strategy. We're just like pressuring one spot, and then they get reinforcements there, and then you kind of half pretend to be pressuring it, keeping a decent force around, and then you start hitting another spot, and then they're splitting their defenses, and you're hitting all of these spots really, really fast, and really hard, and at the same time, and it puts a strain on the defenders, because obviously Circling is now in the defending position because the tables have really turned on him.
Yeah, there's just a couple bad fights, especially when he took a big fight on the left side of the map and tried to Reaver harass the third for Hellbacon. That went badly. It kind of put the game in Hellbacon's hands. He had to conceal
Yeah.
the map control. Hellbacon's been taking better fights since that point. You can even see it here, like he's moving up to this top right area. He's gonna be a couple Zealot kills in the pylon here, but that's how you slowly build this kind of big lead. Like 8 supply there, not like a big amount in its own, but if you take 8 here and like 10 here and a couple kills and a couple probes, that's why we see Hellbacon now sitting very comfortable, almost at 40 supply lead and with total map control.
Yeah.
We actually see, like, I love that Hellbacon here. He's got that pseudo high ground base of his own. Tons of cannons, extra Reavers. Circling, no defense on his, just hoping it doesn't get attacked.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you need your whole army to be really together, right?
Yeah.
But then again, a few cannons went hurt, and he's floating 1.3k, 1.4k now.
I mean, it's hard to just keep up with doing all the stuff that you see here. Now, it's certainly
Yeah.
trying to push out in the middle of the map, but he just doesn't have the army to really comfortably do it. And the army supplies are actually very similar, but you see Hellbacon stuff spread out. He's already in position that he wants to be in, so Circling got to be very careful about the fights he takes. And this is not a good one. There's a bunch of units held back by his natural, not involved in this fight. And Hellbacon taking a lot of units for free, pushing towards into that natural or maybe the third base. It's going to be his choice.
Yeah, and I mean the number of gates, you just can't compare, right? Like, there's so much more producing for Hellbacon than Circling, and they're on a. I mean, how many bases mining does Hellbacon have? 1, 2, 3?
Yeah.
3 bases to 2 bases. I mean, you can't have that in a mirror matchup, and Circling just calls GG.
Yeah. Yeah, gets at
Oh
it.
man.
Gets at it. He tried to fight his way through, but Hellbacon making a lot of good choices on when he could take a fight without losing a lot of stuff to try and do it. So
Yeah. I mean, the easiest way you can lose is by overcommitting, right?
yeah, because I mean we saw that in the game that we saw Circling had a pretty sizable advantage, took one bad fight, handed it right over, and never really got control back.
Yeah. I mean, if you're looking for an army advantage, I mean, you want to be keeping that army up, right? Because
Well, so it's you gotta get. It's not just about having an army; it's about doing something with it. If you're controlling the middle of the map and your opponent like can't comfortably move out because they can't take you to fight, that's your chance to expand, or that's your chance to tech up or add on gateways for later. It might be like some kind of thing like that. And we see our boy typing in the chat. Like, do you want to know? Do you want to know when you're gonna be done? I could tell you. I could tell you the
I'm
length
sorry.
of
No,
the
no,
last
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. It's
I'm just giving you some flack, man.
Crazy wants to be practicing with me. Oh wait,
Yo, you left the game.
I think so. Yeah. Oops.
Okay. Do you?
Oops.
I'm gonna rehost that. We'll try that again.
All right.
Yeah.
That's my bad.
Yeah. You gotta
My bad.
be careful.
I'm getting kind of confused here between the stream I'm watching and then what I'm actually watching.
Why?
I mean, I saw you leave on.
Why are
I'm
you watching?
Stream.
What stream are you watching? What are you?
Yours. I'm watching yours.
You're observing a game. Watch the game.
I'm observing the stream, so I can see the chat.
So
Okay.
I'll give you that pro level tip then.
Mhm.
When you are observing for casting and stuff, go on
Yeah.
windowed mode, size the window so you can still see the chat to the right, and it takes up the bulk of your screen. Then you can do both.
Oh, but I have two monitors.
Well, apparently you just left the game, so apparently you're not using them effectively.
God. Okay. The problem here.
see,
Okay. What happened? What happened is that your stream is there's a buffer between what we're actually doing and what your stream is showing, right? So I saw you leave on the stream, and I was like, oh yeah, you left the real game, and I was like, okay, and then I just left, and then it all like kind of pieced together in my head, and I thought, wait, you didn't leave the actual game, you just left on stream, which is like 10 seconds later.
Is this what you meant when you said you were a memer earlier? Is this what you meant? Is this what you do?
No.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna get your team's coaches to get you in line. You're out of control.
No, man. No, please.
That's okay. So we're in game 2. We're gonna try it again, and we can see if Danant has the time to watch the game with us. We got Circling in the gray. He's in the bottom left. We got Hellbacon choosing that magenta, that nice hot pink, and he's gonna be in the top right. So you saw one PvP. You're an expert now, right? So what do you?
Oh yeah.
You saw in the first game, Circling went for that kind of speed shuttle, trying to get some harassment done. Do you think this would be something he should try on this kind of map again? We're on Bloody Ridge. That main has so many ridges and so much open space. Like, if you wanted to go for drop play, it feels like it would work here as well, right?
Yeah, and I mean, comparatively to Terran, if you get a good position here, you can get a good advantage further on in the game, right? So if you go for an early army and try to get those positions early on and try to cement them, you could have a lasting advantage, and then you could start focusing on drop play and harassment and making some tech and some economy disadvantages for your opponent, right?
Yeah, but it is a little different than, say, like, for a Terran, where it's like, if you wanted to drop, that'd be like you have to go out of your way to get your starport, and you gotta get like a drop ship. Like, you're going a little more out of the way for it, but in this matchup, you're still, the core of your army is gateway units and robotics. So
Yeah.
it's still very likely that you are going to get the things you're looking for. This is weird that we're uh, uh, I was like, I'm gonna leave this up. I'm gonna say this is weird. It's not like there's nothing unusual at all. I'm like, I want this to be interesting, but the early games for this is never like different. Unless someone wants to go for the gasless expand stuff, that's really about it. But we do see Hell Bacon has a probe in the bottom right. You can hide it for a later scout, or you can do something really fun. He's gonna hide it for a scout because he's a warrior and he wants to play the game seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Now we are seeing that he isn't starting his range just yet, though. So that is actually a little weird that he hasn't started his Dragoon range yet.
Well,
Or
either he's just worse, or he's doing something funny here.
I mean, there
Right.
is nothing wrong with delaying your Dragoon range if you're not gonna take a fight before it happens. But that's not what he was going for. I see a Citadel of Adu. We're gonna go into a little bit of that rock paper scissors you were talking about, where it's the choice. Did you get detection? Did you get DTs? Or did you just go? They're not going DTs.
Of course not. Never.
Well, we're gonna have to see because it is 2 gateways and a robotics facility. This is why this kind of build is one of the gold standards in the matchup. If you're just learning PvP and you can't get a handle on like I keep dying to all this stuff, you go two gate and a robo. Get your observer. You can get reavers too, but get an observer first. That protects you against the DTs. You still have plenty of units. Like, it's definitely a good stable way to learn this matchup, and we're gonna see that from Hell Bacon here. Unless he rushes for the reaver and skips the detection, which would be hilarious.
Which would be absolutely rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah. Well, at that point, it's the coin flip, right? But he did have the scout.
Wait.
He did have the scout in circling space for a reasonable amount of time. He saw that the Cybercore wasn't blinking. If he was paying
Wait now. He's not going archives. He's going speed.
That is definitely interesting. He actually pulled all of his guys out of the gas too, so it's going to be some kind of speed lot all in, I guess. But if you're going to do something like this, like, you can afford 4 gateways for that, I believe, because like you're not building Dragoons. You're just going for a ton of. Even like this though, this is definitely very dangerous because you still have to. If your opponent's going for a 2-gate robo like we're seeing here, you're still going to have to fight the possibility of a Reaver.
Right.
And Reaver versus Zella is the best thing. It's just hilarious how effective that strategy can be. If you like have any units to choke that up a little bit, there's no picking off the shuttle. There's no pushing forward to get some free shots. You just have Dragoons in front of that Reaver, and it's never getting touched. Well, let's see what the execution actually is. I hope that we see that Zella's punching a Reaver to death. That'd be hilarious. There's definitely a lot of Zealots moving across the map here, but you can see like the unit supply actually isn't significantly that off. It's both players about even. Circling is only down a couple probes, so this isn't so bad. But speed is done, and if Zealots get on top of Dragoons, they could definitely do a lot of damage. The Reaver in process though can Hell Bacon by the time he needs.
We will see. We will see.
No, make a hot take. Is he gonna buy the time?
God damn it. How much you willing to bet?
I'm not willing to bet anything. This is your pride. This is your caster pride. Make a guess.
Okay. Oh my god.
Oh, this is the worst possible
no.
time to move out here for Hell Bacon.
Just-
He's gonna be able
Just
to
from
get
this,
surrounded.
I'm gonna say no.
No, it's not. It's not a hot take if you wait for knowledge. No, you're supposed to guess at a time. Now he is pulling the army away. He's gonna buy time for that Nexus to start getting up, and the Reaver is already done. Is building scarabs. Can that one zealot get there before it gets killed off? But these zealots doing so much damage.
Oh man, I would laugh so hard if he targeted that one zealot and killed like half of his probes in the process.
Dude, you're rude. You're a sadist. Why would you say that?
Oh well, I mean, I saw it happen. Well, not that specifically, but I saw someone getting attacked by Dark Templar, and he had a Reaver and no observers. So he just targeted his own probes,
Yeah.
and killed the Dark
such a good,
Templar
that's such a good play.
with splash damage.
Now, we are seeing something a little bit unusual here, that the goons from Hellbacon actually went all the way into the main to buy himself some time, but he lost so many units here. He's going to have to figure out a way to keep this Reaver safe, because with these speed zealots going across here, I think you got to give up the Nexus, because your goons walked past Natural. You know he was on one base as well. And you got to be so careful here, because if you lose that one Reaver, you're in such trouble. But certainly, actually adding on is trying to add on some more units. Like, he needs to build more Reavers. Reavers are the critical thing right now. He's poking out a little bit. He's gonna see if he can save the Nexus.
Oh, man.
Nah, I don't think so. I think he's a little bit
yeah.
too late on that one. But now look at all the units circling, keeping him. He's in his main now. He's got no way out. He can't walk out here. He has no shuttles for these Reavers either. So this giant group of speed lots, even though it was such a crazy all-in, actually worked out pretty well. Now Sterling sitting very comfortably.
Oh man. Getting kind of nervous here. Trying to see what's going to happen.
I guess
It looks like Sterling's going to be adding on some Dragoons. Unfortunately, not going on with Pure Zealot.
I mean, at a
huge
certain
shame.
point, it stops being as effective as it is. It's like in the same way that it's like Lings beat Marines, but at a certain point they stop because there's just not enough surface area.
Yeah.
So I wonder, like, he's transitioning into Dragoons now, which is really smart of him. He's got that earlier expansion, but you can see he's like still down on probes. He's just finally starting to get his economy back online. Did a good amount of damage. He's already halfway there to the Templar Archive. But Hellbacon's floating a little bit of money. He could get a pretty sizable force going. I actually would love to see him go for some kind of drops right now. He knows his opponent has no anti-air. It's all zealots. But unfortunately, we're not seeing that.
Maybe in the background, while everything was fighting, maybe Sterling switched to scouts, and then he can't drop. Maybe.
No one
Who knows?
switches to scouts. Like,
Come on, man.
no. I don't condone your meme. It's too much. That's too much. I remember I played ladder one night. I'm like, I'm just gonna do a scout build. I'm gonna build one scout, then go carriers. And I lost every game that night. I lost like 200 MMR.
Oh man.
It was so bad. Scouts are just so awful, man. You can't do it. They do look cool. They do really look cool. They're such a cool unit idea, but no, like, it's never worth it.
I mean, I find it really sad that I mean, they're called scouts, right? And they're not used scout. How awful is that?
I mean, they
Like,
are.
they have an
If you're not playing like the serious game, then you would, because you'd get the vision upgrade and be like, oh man, I have so much information.
Oh man, talking about scout upgrades. I was casting a game with Farp Gates, and then this guy went carriers in a PvT, and he was getting the scouts upgrade in the after that. He got the carrier upgrade for more interceptors, and after that he went scout upgrades. He went for like speed, and he went for vision, and he didn't go scouts. He skipped on scouts.
I mean, that happens.
Man.
So we see Certainly trying to push up towards the third. I don't know if he actually got up there. He did get up there with a couple of. So you see there's not a third base, but he's taking a bit of a fight. They're both units trading a little bit here. The Hell of Bacon over on the left side has a shuttle with one Reaver in it. If he's waiting for that opportunity where they're like in the middle of a fight and no one's paying attention, he might be able to do some very serious damage. There's just not enough
man.
cannons, not enough anti-air back at home. All he's got to do is find that window where his opponent's just not paying attention for a couple seconds.
I mean, Circling has a probe up there too, huh?
Yeah,
Oh,
you
when
see
he's
it?
coming in, he's coming in.
Yeah, he's coming in. No probe pulled just yet. There's a couple Dragoons, but they're down at the south end, right by the cannon. They should have been up more north.
Oh,
but
it dudded. It
nope,
got stuck in it.
it hit. It actually hit. I'm very surprised to see that happen, but it did. A Reaver up to 11 kills and still no reaction. Finally pulling a couple of the probes. and there's some Dragoons try to pinch this off, and it's gonna barely get out.
Ooh.
Oh, that's a tragedy. So much
7
value,
HP.
so much value from Hell Bacon right there. It killed a ton of workers, but still behind on it because he's was so late getting that second Nexus up after that pressure from all these Zealots. So even though he did a lot of damage, I think that only just got him back in the game, not even into an advantage.
Yeah.
Now we do see this army is not going to be as good for fighting from circling. It's just Zealot and Dragoon, but you can see from Hell Bacon, there's a couple of Reavers just hanging out on the ground. You got the one in the shuttle up in the top left corner, still threatening to come back and see what they can do. So Circling's army, while the unit supply says he's in a reasonable spot, that is just very much more low tech.
And I mean, they both have the same amount of supply in army because those workers are taking space too.
Yeah, it
Right.
is about the same amount of supply, but like I
Yeah.
said, like you don't see in Circling side, there's no Templar, there's no Reavers, there's no shuttles. It's literally just like your core gateway army, which even that I think would be okay, but the Forge hasn't finished a weapons upgrade. There's not a lot of gateways. It's still just the 5. So even for the style he's trying to lean into here, like it feels like he's not fully committing to it. And what we do see Storm being researched now, so it's gonna be a while away, but certainly finally moving up that tech tree a little bit. And meanwhile, Hell Bacon over on that 3 o'clock, finally starting that third base. We see the same thing happening for Circling, but here's a Reaver and it's dropped, and it's going to be annoying, but it's hitting a pylon instead of hitting the Nexus. So we're going to see what Circling does to react to that. He's setting up a Dragoon, which that Reaver will kill that Dragoon, so you don't want to send just one, but he's retreating because that shuttle's so injured. He doesn't even want to risk it.
And Hard Bacon setting is scouting Zealot. Not a bad idea. A really good one actually.
Yeah, it's a very beefy unit. If you
Sorry.
do want to use the gas on an observer, I think that's okay. He does see that that 6 o'clock base wasn't taken. Not a whole lot of bases to take here. So you see your opponent trying to take that third. You had your thing up in the upper corner. You see for sure he's not on the 6 o'clock. Then you can. It's pretty reasonable to assume that you're on the same amount of bases, but you got your third up a lot faster than he did. After all that damage that we saw from Circling early on, now he's being very passive, not getting a lot done, and it's actually given Hell Bacon did a good drop, but other than that, like it's just buying him time to get back in this game a little bit. He's catching his tech up, he's getting upgrades out of his forge, and you can just see like I feel like Circling is just very scared, doesn't know what kind of pressure he should put on from here. And
actually, I don't mind that too much. Sitting back is actually a good idea, I think. Like, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, sitting back and just kind of macroing and getting your army up is, in these kinds of situations, when you're having like a kind of standoff, is just a great idea because you just gotta try to get in the zone after all the fighting, and then you're trying to reinforce your positions, cement them, and then you're trying to find an advantage by just staying stable, right?
yeah. Oh, Hell Bacon
Oh.
microed the crap out of this Reaver. He's trying to get as much value as he can, but it's out of scarabs now and ain't gonna get anything done. But he tried real hard, I appreciate it. But that is a pretty big loss, losing any amount of Reavers. You can see Hell Bacon, a lot of units going up to that 12 o'clock. This is the opening Circling need to move down and see if he can catch the unit in the field away from these Reavers that don't have a shuttle. Big fights starting to engage. I think Hell Bacon has a good concave, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough.
Oh man. Yeah, I think that concave did a lot. And then he's getting pincered by Reavers. He killed one, which is really nice.
Yeah,
But
I can't believe this fight went this heavily for Hello Bacon, because we saw like the army supply, it was pretty favored, like you were saying, that Serling had a good amount of army, and he had the first move, but it's like I'm trying to like look at home, and now I'm understanding why the army supply was even though it went so bad. Look at all those gateways in Serling's main on the right side with unrallied units just hanging out.
oh man, yeah. Alright, I just took the habit really fast to rally everything outside because, I mean, having those gateways unrallied is, I mean, it hurts. It hurts after a while.
I do the same thing. I at least gotta send it at least to outside my natural, probably somewhere in the middle of the map. Now we do see from Serling, he's setting up for. He's got a speed shuttle. He's setting up for a storm drop, which you only need them to not pay attention for a couple seconds. He's gotta be very careful. He's actually gonna lose the shuttle 2 cannons, but gets a storm off, and before the High Templar dies, does get 7 kills. So pretty effective harass, but at a big cost.
Yeah. I mean, hurting the economy is always pretty worth it, right?
Yeah, it's always gonna be good to like reset your opponent's stuff here and there, but if you like look at the money it certainly has here, he's not like on a giant gas bank, so throwing away 2 Templar and a shuttle that's a pretty hefty investment in both of your resources, so you can't really affect it. Now this is going to be a good opportunity if Hello Bacon tries to be too aggressive and push up here. Certainly has that high ground advantage, so it's got to be very careful about how he takes this fight. Honestly, if Sterling moves down, he should just back off because that army looks scary, especially with all these High Templar.
Oh man, there's a hero probe here too. But if this guy gets a kill, if he gets a kill, I don't know what I'm gonna say. A probe killing a dragoon, that would be pretty amazing.
I mean, sometimes probe is just that little extra damage that you need if they're at like 1
Yeah.
or 2 health. It's actually pretty effective for the very early game that you see in against Zerg because it helps you kill links and then 1 extra hit. And we got from Hello Bacon another drop down to the south side. He's got a Reaver and some Zealots. All circling stuff's putting pressure on this north area. So 1 good drop. Actually, there's 2 Reavers and 4 Zealots here. This is going to be very potent if he wants to commit to it. So this is going to be interesting. But Sergling's army that's at the 12 area is very strong. So if he sees this drop and commits to an attack, Hell Bacon might have to concede some ground.
Actually, I'm wondering now, why do Protoss never go for mass drop? Like in Terran.
Against Terran?
No, like Terran in any matchup really.
Well, I mean, we
Like,
have...
why don't you ever go mass shuttles and drop a ton of Zealots everywhere?
Because we have Arbiters, man.
Oh yeah, I'm dumb.
But you wouldn't want to do that in this matchup because one of the best things you could do against drop, like, you think particularly in this matchup, that you're thinking like, oh, well, Reaver drops, they're pretty good, they can do a lot of damage. Reavers have to slow down and you're trying to like pick up the Reaver and do all this stuff. Storm covers the Reaver and the shuttle trying to save it, and you usually lose both. So, like, as the game gets later and High Templar become more available, doing anything against someone that has storms in place becomes very risky. We did see those drops get a lot of damage done, a good amount of workers killed from the natural, trying to get some pressure down in the mid as well, but certainly still reinforcing that army up near the 12 and taking the base over in the top corner around 10 o'clock. So it's going to be a while, but certainly setting up for that 4th base and should be able to like protect that. Hell Bacon took his 4th base at the 12, but that's where all this army is. That feels like it's at more risk.
Ooh.
There's nothing.
This drop is gonna see the base.
There's nothing here. So as the drop sees the base, but they ain't gonna get anything done.
Oh man, poor probe. Well, they might get the Nexus, which is really good. I mean, it's 400 minerals, right?
Yeah, they're gonna be able to put that pressure on and get the Nexus here. And we see Circling trying to poke out with these Zealots just to see like where's your army, what is it, and he sees the base up with a couple cannons. He's sending he's trying to save his own Nexus, but he ain't gonna get there in time, unfortunately.
Well, he won't be able to get through it really because Well, pylons.
Yep. Yeah, it's not a vultures versus Terran. Like the pylon wall is hindering you quite significantly here too. We do see so many units being dropped here. Actually, a Reaver getting defended by Zealots from a shuttle, and the other shuttle trying to get out. Very low health, but does manage to sneak away. Hellbacon's armor supply slowly getting a little bit better every time they take a fight. Feels like he's just doing it a little bit more effectively.
Oh,
Loses the
the
drop
shuttle
at
and the Reaver dies.
yeah, but there's the one at the natural that's poking around, still getting some stuff done. Just lots of drops. Like here's your mass drops. Like he's going for it. You got a shuttle.
Man, I was thinking more like 6 shuttles full of stuff.
Well, I mean, so like let's do the math on that. Let's say 6 shuttles full of just zealots. So make it nice and cheap. That means every shuttle is worth 10 supplies. So if you had 6 of them flying around the map, they just push down your throat and kill you because you're 60 of your supplies nowhere near your army.
Damn it.
We do see like, we're getting a little bit of this harassment Hellbacon, just keeping the pressure on. Wants to keep his opponent back at base, especially since he knows he just killed that 10 o'clock expansion. A big storm drop going on these probes over here. Gets a good amount of damage done. And certainly his worker supply keeps falling pretty hard at these drops. Even though he's defending them, and the unit supply is pretty even, certainly he's going to have to get something done soon, otherwise this is going to be a problem.
Oh man. Oh man. I don't know where this is going.
I mean, he's certainly trying to loop around that right side. We see Hellbacon try and take that next base down at the 5 o'clock area. It's going to be difficult to hold, though, so I'm curious to see if certainly spots it, if he's going to try to do something. Fighting in this area is so dangerous because the high and low ground variation really going to make a big difference when you're doing these big Dragoon fights. So much storms forcing Hellbacon back, though. He has to concede the space.
Man, he got some got a few high Templar with that storm.
That feels bad. Big fight going down
Okay.
here. Lots of zealots here for Hellbacon compared to basically just Dragoons for circling. So this high ground advantage doesn't matter for the zealots. You can see how fast this fight. Like the army supply was actually in favor of circling. The unit supply was about even, but with all these zealots just getting out Dragoons, no micro to protect them, storms already used. You see Hellbacon going from about even supply to almost 100 ahead.
Oh wow. And Hellbacon is up on 3 upgrades.
Yeah.
He's got +2 armor and +2 weapons, whereas Zergling has just +1 attack.
Yeah, low key, it's hard to remember to go for upgrades because it's not like there's a big critical breakpoint like there is in like Terran versus Terran or Zerg versus Protoss. It's hard to remember to keep up on them, but when you have all these things, especially Zealots, since they're a 2-hitting unit, like that, those weapon upgrades really add up quite quickly.
I mean, upgrades. When you're up on upgrades, it's pretty huge.
All right, now we're seeing something that you don't really see in this matchup very much. Hellbacon, he's building some Stargates, and I see a fleet beacon.
Oh, scouts.
No, it's gonna be carriers. Get
Oh,
out of
damn
here!
it.
Get out of here with your scouts.
Oh,
But I do not really like that decision. You typically don't go carriers in this kind of matchup because, I mean, Dragoons are already pretty decent at fighting them. But if you really built up any kind of reasonable like amount of carriers, yeah, you could actually build scouts because they kill carriers crazy fast.
wow.
But really, it's also just interceptors flying through storm. That's like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
hard to actually get stuff done with carriers. So we see Hellbacon. If he's gonna like sit back and wait for this, I don't really agree with this decision. This is very bold. He's actually building a Corsair right now. So that is interesting. I'm curious what he's doing.
I'm waiting for the storm in top left.
Yeah, well,
Storm when?
you don't need to. Honestly, you don't even need to use the storm. You got so many zealots that are getting the pressure on. A couple of Hellbacon's units get caught out in the middle of the field, but it ain't enough to really do anything. That we're losing another base for circling in that top left corner, and like he's just taking so much economy damage. Like he's got to actually get a base up and keep it is the problem. Although Hellbacon's army pretty split up right now. If there's ever gonna be a chance to try to take a fight and get something back, this might be it.
Man, we can clearly see the difference in economy now. Like, Bacon has more bases. He's up on 1. And he also has 20 more workers.
Yeah, he's just building a lot more units. He's got so many gateways, he's actually building out of them. He's even floating quite a bank, but still so far ahead. Circling, tapping
GG.
out, Bacon taking that again. 2 long PvPs, something you don't see super often.
I mean, I think the big error here from Struggling was his economy, right? His economy and his production.
I
Because
honestly, I'm not even sure. Like, I felt like he had opportunities where he had map control, but didn't use it to expand faster. He stuck on like the speed zealot tech for a long time. Didn't like rush into like Templar to make use of the tech he already had. It felt like there was a lot of decision making that could have been done better. Bacon, both
mhm.
games went into a deficit early, and just solid play clawed it right back, and it took one deciding fight to jump way ahead.
Yeah,
Well, either way, though, that's the last game we got for the night. We had some fun with Tier 3. Thank you for joining me in casting tonight, Dana.
you're welcome.
Yeah, it was very fun.
My pleasure. Yeah.
Now, we're done with the cast tonight, but that means there's a cast tomorrow. It's going to be me and the Blime over on the official Coach Pupil League channel. We're going to be
Ooh.
casting all of the Week 7 Tier 0. So that's going to be a bunch of series, super high level play. And it's going to be starting at the same time this starts tonight, 6 o'clock Eastern. So hopefully see you guys there. Other than that, everyone have a good night and stay safe.
Yeah.